Good morning, traders. How we doing? Looks like it's one of those days where I need an extra coffee. And like always, we're not always so sharp every single day. Today's one of those days I'm feeling a little tired. Well, either way, got to make money, right? Well, we'll try to do that one good trade today. I think that's something that's important. Sometimes we want to be on the gas pedal, especially with the rally coming back. There was moments there where there was time to get the gas pedal. But now, today comes the uncertainty. And why? Because it's just like that, guys. I always talk about one thing that I look at in the market. It's called the max pain trade. Today, is the max pain on the Bears or is it on the Bulls? I kicked that question to you guys today. Let me know in the chat. What do you guys think? Is the max pain today in the Bull camp or is it in the Bear camp? Let's get to the action. You guys know where you're at. It's, of course, TTP live trading. Let's go ahead and kick things off. Let's get some action started. Let's go to what stocks are moving right now. We'll take a look at some playbook action, see what we can trade. And of course, we'll take a look at the sunrise report, see what news came in today. But the big day, of course, all about NVIDIA at, of course, 1 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be seeing what happens with NVIDIA. Can it get the lift? CEO going to be talking there. And I don't see it lifting too much off of this, guys. I do think that some people are trying to kind of make this bigger than what it is. And of course, the quantum names already taking a hit this morning in the pre-market. That's good, though. That's good. I think it's a good thing to see some pullback action because these names just rip. And now we're starting to get the pullback. Let's get to the playbook, see what's going on out there. And you guys, like always, let me know if there's a play that's on your sleeve. And there's one thing that I want you guys to know. And there's some new stuff coming out, guys. So definitely pay attention. Because right now, in just moments, guys, we will be unleashing the unlimited trading period starting from you saw it there, guys, $47. Well, there's no more excuse for not trading. I can tell you that much at least. Let's get to the playbook and see what we can come up with today. All right, traders, let's take a look at what's going on in the market right now and take a look at some plays. One of the names that I'm keeping on my radar today is LI, and that's going to be on the playbook. And there's a reason why. It's that this, of course, BYD coming out with some news today. Chinese auto and EVs have been doing pretty well. And LI has been one of those names that's made its way towards 40 multiple times. And now it's kind of doing this rounding bottom, trying to build off of this, and looks like a big cup and handle here, right? You guys can see the kind of the cupping action here, and now we're starting to pull back. Now I think it's all about, can we break a trend line and start making our way through 30, going back towards the gap into that kind of space. First thing will be a move towards 30.29. Then you got another gap to 31.78, and eventually we could be right back there towards 33. So I don't think this is a bad chart to look at. I think this is something definitely to watch. And of course, China stocks, of course, have been really hot, guys, and they're not slowing down anytime soon. I know that a lot of people are talking about the downturn in the U.S. markets, but really, this is what you should be watching. And this is why I was such a proponent of China stocks in December and January. And boy, have we taken off in 2025. So in just about, 3 months, we are up there 36% on large cap names. That's massive. And where has the money gone in the US? Well, I think a lot of it went to other markets. And that's not a good sign, guys. That just shows negativity in what we think is a kind of sideways year, right? And so I don't know about the market today. I feel like you might need to be looking at a long VXX trade. Yes, I'll be looking at that trade today, guys. And we've had, now 2 or 3 days on the downside, you can say, because the overnight action from Friday really didn't hold, right? Thursday, Friday action going down, Monday action going down. And now, do we get this kind of whipsaw where we start to come back, right? I think that's what we get here. I don't think it's going to be just an easy way to stuff the bears. And one thing to notice is the crossover on the MACD. This was doing really well and it just crossed over, right? So now I think we need to be watching, does this expand and go further down, or did we get the bounce today? And it's right back to 50 and the uncertainty right back in the market. All things to be asked about, and we'll see what happens there, but not bad names to kind of keep an eye out, especially with the volatility that's going on. Now, yesterday I talked about an important trade was watching to see what happens in the sectors, right? Like XLI, like XLF, and of course XLV. Now, yesterday was a really good day for it because it was looking like it wanted to break this 130. And if this 130 goes, so will I, man. That's when I really see the market kind of breaking down. If that goes back down lower through that, but right now we're kind of bouncing off near support, and we've had about like a 2 or 3 day rally. We can say here it's not massive; it's a 3%. But the idea here is that if industrials could go higher, if they start a breakout attempt, that's how you bring this market back. But if that doesn't happen, and that's the concern for me, that it cannot get to this green line here, and I'll make it nice and thick so you guys can see it. That's what needs to happen here. If it's back at that green line, then yes, Katie barred the door. We're ready for some upside action, guys. But this isn't looking too bad on the MACD either, right? We're almost crossed to the upside. So, hey, I'm in both camps today. I know that might sound hard, right? I'm in the bearish camp for the intraday action, but overall, as long as the XLI can catch here, get back to that trend line, yes, we could go higher. We'll see what happens with different names out there. Let's go to some different names in the market. That's going to do it for the 3 names in today's playbook. But it's a lot of taking a look at the overall plays that are going on. Is it going to be a growth day or not? XLF, of course, had a nice little bounce back after a quick down move. And now I'm just wondering, can these rallies hold? And that's what we need to be asking ourselves. And today will be one of those days that I am very kind of watching closely the action, not necessarily trying to trade so much the action, but looking to see what happens. Because if we start to fail today and start to go back on the SPY, let's say to 560, and start to really kind of get right back to where we were, well, those will be really bad news. And then there's some people that were trying to draw kind of like a cup and handle pattern on this. And that's where I get a little confused. I'm like, this does not look like a cup and handle pattern at all. So of course, cup and handle pattern is going to have a left shoulder ahead and a right shoulder. And we're talking an inverse one, right? Well, the right shoulder here is not defined. So we could actually have a really good down day that could define that right shoulder. Then I would call it a inverse head and shoulders, but you need that right shoulder. And what's always important about head and shoulder patterns is not the left shoulder. It's not the right shoulder. It's not even the head. It's the neckline. That's what really determines the head and shoulder pattern. That's where I feel traders get it wrong a lot of the time. And in my books that I've read, of course, for like the CMT, they've said it that this pattern is one of the hardest ones to determine because the neckline can be drawn a lot of times in different areas. And if the neckline is going to be drawn in different areas, then the point of interest changes. So essentially, it's not an easy pattern to kind of see and actually trade, guys. It's one of those patterns that I would say I leave the inverse head and shoulders on the downs on the sideline, and I just use it to start seeing, can we get back above trends? I talked about the 9 EMA, how we've gotten towards the 9 EMA, but can we start to hold above the 9 EMA, which is that light blue line? You can see we're right there. We need to recover it and start to hold. We'll see if it can make that move. NVIDIA, of course, been making a decent move. And this one's not a 2-day move. This one's more kind of like a 6-day move. And now it's pulling back to the 9 EMA. Yesterday, it closed above the 9 EMA. So let's see if it can hold it today. If it washes that out, well, things are not looking good there. And I think that you might get some first downside action and then look to see if the CEO can bring it back. I don't see NVIDIA ripping out the gates today, but we'll have to wait and find out, traders. Of course, yesterday I was looking at 3 names. I was looking at QMCO, and I talked about how that one could be one of the ones that gets a lift because it didn't get the love like the other ones got on Friday. And this one ripped higher, guys, and opened at 1585s, going all the way up to a high in the intraday We got towards 2159. So not bad gain at all there in QMCO. But this morning, all these quantum names starting to pull back. A little part of me was thinking about shorting these this morning, but it's a little bit of a hard trade. But definitely seeing that quick pullback, QBTS hanging on to 10 for dear life. And if you look at QUBT, similar chart, right? Cut through the 8, now barely hanging on. Rigetti, name that I traded yesterday, not able to hold on, right? And even RCAT, that's not even in the quantum space. One name that I was looking at it, not being able to hold on. So I think we got to continue to watch to see what happens here, guys. It could be that moment where these names popped, but are we catching a kind of a dead cat bounce here? And I think that that's what I'm seeing at least. And it's going to take today to really prove to me that this is not a dead cat bounce. And I think that's important sometimes to just wait and see what happens versus trying to call all the action. All right, we'll see what else is going on out there. And if you guys got a stock you guys want to take a look at, let me know in the chat. It's time to get to the sunrise report. I know I need some sunrise. Pinkies up, guys. Wolfpack's with me today, like always. I know that you guys will help me out and find those big trades. We'll have Michael Noss, of course. We'll have Justy Trade, Steve joining us in a little bit here. And I'll need the boys as much as I can today. So let's get to the action. Let's go take a look at the sunrise report and see what we can come up with today. All right, of course, Wall Street climbed back some losses on Friday and Monday's session, but the S&P 500 remains in correction territory. The NASDAQ composite is still struggling, sitting over 10% from its highs. Despite the bounce, all major indexes are still negative the year to date, and that's a concern, right? Need to see it start to get back to the green side if we're really going to hang on. Of course, all eyes are on the big bad wolf, of course, as traders are laser focused on the Fed's 2-day policy meeting starting today. So today's that day where they all sit around, they talk, and they chat about what's going on. I think it's an important day overall just to keep watching and see what happens in the market. Of course, the FOMC decision comes on Wednesday's afternoon, but we'll see what happens here. Will, of course, interest rates get cut? I don't think so. I mean, the market expectations now at 99% for rates to hold steady. So I don't know if that's a good thing, though, for the market. Is the market looking for a cut? It might be. We'll have to wait and find out from the big bad wolf himself, Jerome Powell. All right. And Powell's tone matters more than the decision. And I think that's really the truth. The decision is already a given. It's a no cut. But what tone does he give here? And will he say that, we're still not looking to cut? Things like that are all things to catch in the interview. Of course, the conference kicks off today. You'll get the press release on Wednesday at 2 p.m. And of course, the fireworks start in the Q&A at 2:30 after the prepared speech is read. Ralph Lauren this morning getting a nice little push here. Let's take a look at this name. That's RL. Let's go take a look and see why Ralph Lauren is getting a nice little move here. Let's go. All right, guys. So one thing you can see here is, of course, nice little push here. It looks like it got an upgrade to buy. And I don't know why you're coming out with this now, guys. Goldman Sachs upgrading this to buy. And I don't have the price target, but man, it's a little late to come into this party. I feel like the apparel manufacturing days and like even the ANF, the monster that was ANF. Look where it's at now, guys. This is slowly but surely just coming right back to where it was. And I think that we're really close. I mean, we're almost past the 2024 numbers, and soon we'll be in 23. And now we're right back to where ANF was. So I am one of those people that I really should have shorted this stock. I was shorting this stock, though, and I made a couple of attempts here back in the 160s. I should have definitely taken a longer-term position to the short side because ANF is going to struggle, especially with the tariffs that are out there. And that's why I see AEO. And I've talked about Urban as being one of those names I could see really starting to break down and going right back to where it came from. All right, let's take a look here at Duolingo. So that's DUOL. Upgraded here on max subscription potential. We'll see what happens here. Duolingo, of course, kind of your language learning app. We'll see if it can start to get back into the gap. Gap is really what I'd be watching. That's that 330 area. If it gets there, it starts to look a little bit better. Let's go to BTU. I haven't traded BTU in it seems like a lifetime. And I used to trade this stock all the time, especially in 21 and 22. So now I'm seeing this stock, and it's a coal stock, right? Well, now it's starting to show a little bit of a rounding bottom. And I think that this is not looking too bad. I think you got to continue to watch to see if you get to lift here. You are starting to close above the 9, starting to turn things around. And of course, this has something to do with Trump, as Trump backs coal energy. Yes, that's exactly what was done, guys. I don't understand it, guys. I mean, there's so many other ways to get energy than coal, and coal is running out, guys, and it's not something that's going to last forever. I think that it's one of the worst forms to get energy from. But hey, Trump backs it, so hey, maybe it keeps going higher. It's not a bad way to look at it. I'll call it the black gold because you need it a lot out there. But man, BTU, is coal going to get going here? We'll have to wait and find out. All right, let's keep going in the Sunrise Report. Now we'll talk a little bit about Eastman Kodak as Q4 net income surge here. I don't believe this company one bit, but hey, to each his own, right? Eastman Kodak not looking too bad on the daily and weekly. Take a look at it on the weekly. You can see how you were just going up there looking for a breakout above the 8s, and you failed. Now you're right back to 716. I'd be looking to see if we can get back there towards that 780s, and then you could continue a breakout above. We'll have to wait and find out on Eastman Kodak. Baidu, new AI models launched, and I saw a different kind of, and also about like kind of 3D and things like this. This right here in China, oh, this looks good, guys. I'm watching Baidu here, guys. It just got the move to go out of the monthly range, which is this monthly above the 164 spot. So if I'm looking for pullbacks, it's around that level. So I'd be looking at this resistance and then the support, right? So there's the resistance. Then you can go back towards around here. Somewhere in this gap, I'm going to be looking to see if I can go ahead and grab Baidu on a pullback today. We'll have to wait and find out. This has made a decent move, but it's not massive. And I think that it's just getting started, and it's one of those names that hasn't gotten the pickup in China. Stocks under pressure today. There's an energy stock here, HNRG, that's down 6% on a revenue miss and getting a hit there. And it's a coal name, wouldn't you know it? SRPT, down 25%. Man, I honestly, these therapeutic stocks, man, they just vomit and just go away. And it seems like this one is one of those where it's vomiting and clean up in aisle 3 because Sarepta is not looking good, and this could be the disaster that begins. Of course, serious LVD's side effects reported. I'm guessing that's one of their drugs, but side effects reported, and that's exactly what you don't want to hear. Easy way to get that drug pulled off the shelving, and then the expected earnings go to the dumpster fire. And when they go to the dumpster fire, so will a stock. Tesla still down here 3% in the pre-market, and I don't see anything changing here. I was actually having a conversation that I'm going to bring the conversation up during the show. We'll talk about it with Michael and Steve about used cars and new cars and how the middle class is getting towards a point where they might have to start looking at SUVs in the $60,000 to $80,000 range. With these new tariffs coming in, the prices are going higher and the pressure increasing more and more on these kind of purchases. And I really don't see it how a middle class consumer can afford a vehicle at $80,000, yet have a mortgage probably at $3,000 with a house, with the average house going above $400,000. I mean, things are not looking good underneath the hood. And there's a reason why. I think the consumer is strapped. And one of the things that we got yesterday was retail sales. And retail sales started to show more and more of that consumer breaking. So one of the things that I'll be watching for this year, and I think this will take some time. It's nothing that I think we need to worry about today, but delinquencies in new car loans. And there's a reason why. It's just the cost is just way too high. And that's why I also like the used car trade. I've talked about it, how the middle class will get to a point when they go to the dealership and the dealer tells them, hey, here's the new car. Guess what? It's going to cost you just $849 a month. Yeah, they're going to look at them like you're crazy, right? Like that's a Porsche back in the days, right? I remember when I first got my first Mustang, I was looking at I was like, yeah, can I get the fancy sports cars and how much they were going to run me for? And it was somewhere between kind of $700 to $900 a month. Now that's just a classic RAV4 or Chevy, Toyota Camry, right? I mean, not what you want to be hearing. All right, guys, let's go ahead. We're going to kick things off into the show in a second. But that's really where I see Tesla struggling. And I don't see this changing anytime soon. I think this is one of those names that will maybe have a bounce at some point because it is oversold. But this could easily start to get really ugly, where you make an attempt to wash out these monthlies. And if you start to lose around the 170 spot, watch out. Another thing to look, though, is the trend line approach. Just okay, we broke out from this trend line, right? Will we just come to it and bounce? That's around the 193. So if there's one area for the bounce, I'd say it's near the 190s for me. But if that doesn't hold and we're back towards 170, watch out, guys. Watch out. And I don't see this story as being just political. I also am calling it as I see it, which is more having to do with the actual auto sales that will be struggling, at least in my eyes. All right, guys, it's 9 a.m. It's time to kick the show off. In a little bit, we'll be having Steve join us, but it's time to bring Michael Noss into the show. It's time to take a look into the market. Maybe this bear needs to be tamed, but I don't know. I'm not feeling good about the market today. Let's kick things off. Wants 200, baby. You ready to get back to the trading action?
You aim, you shoot, and make money.
It's going to be a great day. You guys know where you're at. All right, traders, how we doing out there? Let's go ahead. Let's kick things off. Let's bring on the man himself, Michael Noss. How we doing out there, my friend? Not feeling too good about this market. I don't know if it's just that I'm tired or what it is. And I had one of those long nights and early mornings, and I don't know, man. I'm just not feeling the market today. I'm feeling like, and one thing I'll bring in before we get too far into like the weeds or whatever is that, man, you know how you tell me like you see like those bears and you keep up with like bear accounts and you start to see the bears come out. Well, I started to see the bulls start pouting their chest yesterday. And they were really in the Twitter streets, like just bringing in these statistics and all these things. And that's when I start to realize I'm like, man, the Max Payne trade might be flipping here, right? Where yesterday, I think some of the bears started to maybe cut out. And now are the bulls just positioned in? Is the Max Payne on the bulls? So some things that I'm looking at. And then moments like this, and I have to ask you because I was wondering myself, I was like, am I just overreacting or something? Because there was like this, like some people were trying to call it, and I'm going to bring the chart up so you can see it yourself, of course, and Michael can make the kind of the conviction call here. Is this a head and shoulders pattern to you, my friend?
A small one, and that's Frank Capillari, I think that probably.
Yeah,
I think it came
dude.
from.
To me, this is not a head and shoulders pattern. At least from what my understanding of the head and shoulders pattern is, if anything, I would draw a trend line from this left shoulder and it has to at least come close to it for it to be a right shoulder.
Yeah, I would say I'd agree. The right shoulder is, I think, stretching it a little bit, but it's
Yeah,
one of
man,
those.
that right shoulder is more like I'm positioned in, and I'm gonna call this the inverse head and shoulders pattern, man. And then, and I gotta give it to him. I love Ryan Dietrich, but even he threw it up there and was like adding some statistics, right? And I
Mhm.
know how he is. He's a relentless bull. So that's when I'm starting to say, like, man, I think the Bulls are saying they have it too quickly here instead of waiting to start to see a consistent trend. Now, of course, what I'll be watching is the sectors that we talked about yesterday. Can they continue to hold? Can the rally continue to broaden out? And I think that that's what I'm watching, where I felt like a lot of traders, and I was catching them yesterday, they were just all focused about NVIDIA and the quantum names. And I don't got no problem with that, right? I'm watching them too. But I think there's some bigger issues here that we need to really kind of keep an eye out for. So kicking it to you, my friend. How you doing and how's the market looking for you?
I'm doing well, and I'm not nearly as bared up as you are, right? I kind of agree. I think with most of my technical and analyst counterpart, one stat that I think is interesting is that only 25% of corrections turn into bear markets, right?
Okay.
So that means, you go back through history, the market regularly pulls back 10%. It's no big deal. This one was way faster than normal, but the market regularly pulls back 10%. Over the last, I think, 50 years, there's been 25 or so. So, well, every half year. But that rarely, again, only 25% of the time turns into a bear market. So a bear market's negative 20%. So it means that the odds are somewhere between here and another 10%-ish down that we get some sort of a bounce. And the bounce that we got is pretty interesting. So it's kind of like we were talking about before. We need to see what the pullback looks like. So we're getting a little bit of that today. And if buyers come in at a higher price and then start to push us higher, that's all I need to see, right? It's this low. I think everything is dependent on this low right here. If we lose this low, all bets are off. We could make more
Mm-hmm.
lows again on a closing basis.
Yeah.
If we just pull back a little bit and we dig in above that low and then bounce, that to me is what I'm watching. And then
Mm-hmm.
on the 30-minute chart, we talked a lot about yesterday how this area, this 563 was such a huge zone. It was resistance all these times. And now we've come back to it. So what I'm watching this morning is to say, okay, is this going to just turn into support? Because if this turns, prior resistance becomes support, and then we go from there. That's kind of exactly what we want to see for the bear case to happen.
Yeah. And what my thought was, Michael, is that that would give us the chance to actually make that right shoulder, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what I'm looking for, right? Is that I felt like that was just like too quick to say that this is just like a rally back. And I think that that's one thing that I'll be watching for, that pull back into that spot. I'm with you on that. It makes sense for it to at least go test that area first, right? Go test
Hmm.
some of the bulls, see if they're willing to hold through some of the weakness. And seeing, of course, later in the week, we got kind of big events, right? We got the FOMC, but I
Yep.
think that one's a given. I think everyone's just waiting to hear what Jerome's going to say, right? It's going to be a talking
Right.
kind of watch more than
Right.
the decision itself. I mean, if you think that there's going to be a rate cut, even I was kind of in that camp a little while back when it was at 11%, but nowhere near it now.
No, it's like 99.9% no rate cut. Yeah.
Ridiculous. But let's continue this conversation. Let's bring in the man himself, Justy Trades, of course. Let's see how he's seeing the market today. What's going on, Steve? How
Hey
we
guys.
doing? I know I'm tired. I'm running on fumes here, but I'm feeling a little bearish. Michael's taming me a little bit. How do you see the market today, my friend?
Oh, Mitch, I'm with you. You can see these bags in my eyes. It's been a long week already, but hey, we're excited to be here.
That's how it is. We keep it rolling, man. We keep it rolling.
Absolutely. I'm seeing things. I'm seeing things pretty closely to Michael. I gotta say, I like what you're talking about, the head and shoulders. So I'm gonna be the fence sitter today. I'm gonna be the devil's advocate for both sides here. I think you're right on it doesn't look like a head and shoulders to me, inverted head and shoulders. I'm not a massive pattern trader, but to me, it feels like we could definitely get another shakeout and still be in quote unquote, we're way down here, but bullish territory. Like Michael says, it'd never be too easy to doom and gloom the world. I think that there's a lot more chances that we can get some nice move up before we get a significant pullback. That being said, we have FOMC tomorrow, and yeah, it's gonna be a spicy week. So I'm here for whatever we get.
I think we got to continue to watch to see what happens there. And we can definitely take a look at different charts that you guys are looking at. I'm going to go back to Michael here. Any charts that are on your radar right now, my friend? Did I lose Michael's audio?
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Yeah, one last thing that I wanted to point out on the SPY before we move on, that's a kind of a Brian Shannonism, something I've been doing for a while, is when you get a major swing low like that, you just pop an anchored view app on it. It just shows you the average person who's been, who caught the low and has been kind of dollar cost averaging on the way up here, adding to a winning position. They're still sitting way down here. So this zone, again, call it 565 to 560. I almost want to see a pullback in there today, just to show us that there's some buyers at a higher price. Because I think everybody has been, everybody has been waiting for this bounce. And the question is, what happens next? Right? If it pulls back, do people just take their money from the bounce and run? Or is it something that they end up leaning into and giving a little bit of time and kind of pushing from that as well? So the so if we get in this zone, that's, again, I kind of want to see that, but until we get that, I don't really know too much what to do. I want to see a pullback, but it's kind of like we talked about. They might not give you that chance. They might not give you a chance to get in. They might just kind of rip it from there. But we're seeing, again, the energy and materials and all these names. This is the pre-market chart showing us the idea here of it doesn't have to be led by big cap tech, right? We have Palantir down today. We have MicroStrategy. We have Tesla. All these names down today. And then if you look at what's holding us up, energy, materials, commercials, these kind of things. So it's more of this rotation that we talked about. And, a chart that I posted yesterday that got some feedback, some good, some bad, was just this comparison. So if you look at just the last few days, so this is MAGS. It's the Mag 7, right? This is an ETF. It just incorporates all the Mag 7. And then this one's RSP. So this is the equal weight S&P 500. And you can see how Mag 7 got no lift over the last few days. No real bounce. Just stopped going down. But that was it. And we've talked about that as well, Mitch, where we just need these tech names to stop going down. And they have the last few days. And that led for this massive ripper that we had in the average large cap stock. So it seems like this rotation is coming. And I think it's great. I'm here for it. Give me more stuff to trade than Tesla.
I think that's what we got to continue to watch. Just continue to see if the rally can broaden out to just other places than just tech. I know that everyone's watching tech, but tech doesn't always need to be the answer. And I think that this year is going to be one of those years that you just get kind of a reset mentality in what AI really is. And that's where I'm like a little bit worried about NVIDIA today. And I feel like if there's anything that could take down the market today, it's NVIDIA. And why? Because there's so much bullish mentality there, right? And I always talk about the max pain. I don't think the max pain here is on the bears. I think it's 100% on the bulls. And why? Because everyone's thinking that NVIDIA is just going to continue to make another rip. And it's of course, it's the talking heads on media saying that we're like in inning 2 or 3 of AI that keep pushing this mentality higher. I do think that we're early in AI, but it's not the large language models, I think, that are the focus anymore. And the chips that are needed, I think if people wanted the chips, they already are buying them, man. It's not like they're going to just, it's going to continue going. There's going to be a point in time, like investments come in waves. There's like an excitement at first, and then everyone's just like, I want to invest, I want to invest, I want to invest. And then when things like DeepSeek happen, when open source things start coming out and it's free, and then realize, well, what are we doing here? Why are we spending all this money and not seeing returns? That's my number one thing. Even let's say ChatGPT, right? I used it for like a couple months on the paid version, and then I went right back to the free. Why? Because it wasn't worth it.
Absolutely, Mitch. It's so fascinating. We're rapidly seeing AI become commoditized with the Chinese models performing so well for such a fraction, and then I think
Yeah.
Google's catching up rapidly too. So you've got Baidu just releasing Ernie 4.5, and it's up I think 9% yesterday. Crazy move
Yeah.
there. We're seeing money continue to come into China. I just want to play devil's advocate just a little bit here. I like
Let's
everything
do
you're
it.
saying, but if we're talking Max Payne, I gotta say I think it's to the upside. I think they could really rip us here. I think that there's a historic amount of puts still on the tape with all this bearishness,
Okay.
and we've got OPEX around the corner on Friday, and we have FOMC Wednesday. Something's a little fishy to me. I think maybe we have to wait for those puts to roll off to really get a downside move.
Yeah, and that could be a good move, right? That's a great mention there. Of course, the expiration's coming on Friday. I think that's an important thing, right? I think right now we're in that kind of lull period, right? Where we did get a day or two pop, but I think we were all looking at some point to see some kind of action to the upside.
Right.
Now I think it's more of a now I think it's more of a matter of, is there real weakness in this economy or not, right? Is there real problems underneath the hood or not, right? Is it just talk or is there real problems there? And I thought yesterday with the retail sales actually showing us negative and then the positive reaction, I think that was one of those that it just put me on alert a little bit, because the number one thing that was talked about on those GDP revisions was, of course, consumer consumption. So those are all things that I'm looking at. We got the Bitcoin chart up here. Michael, looking at Bitcoin. How's Bitcoin looking? Because a lot of people use this as a proxy for tech, right? And the Qs overall. How's that looking?
Yeah, it's not doing anything. But did you see this this guy with a $500 million bet that Bitcoin's
that's
going to
wild,
go
right?
lower?
It's very, very fascinating.
And it goes lower?
That goes lower, and
I
he
have
has
not seen this one. I heard about the Ethereum bet. That guy went 50 times leverage. How much did this guy go?
50x too, I believe.
Yeah, this guy's 50 times leverage, and he's got $500 million
Dude,
on the
where are
line.
these guys getting this leverage from? I need to find out.
Oh, you can grab in the crypto world, getting 50 times leverage. That's no big deal at all. But the interesting thing is that because everything's on chain, everything's visible, we have his liquidation price. So I took this tweet and I retweeted it, and I said there's a near 100% chance we get to 85. It's 85 565. That's his liquidation price. So if we tick that in Bitcoin, this guy's got to cover $500 million of Bitcoin. That to me seems like a short squeeze imminent. And if Bitcoin starts ripping, which is why I'm looking for this, if Bitcoin starts ripping, you better believe the rest of the market's going with it, right? You don't get worlds where Bitcoin is ripping
and
to
that's
new
a pretty
highs.
big bet, man.
Yeah, that's not some pocket change. I do. I have a little bit more of insight on this trade that I'd love to just kind of throw into the ring here.
Throw it. What's in the streets, man? What are you seeing?
So the first thing is, like you said, like Michael said, everything's on chain. So we can also see this big whale's buy order too. He wants to buy to close at I think like 63 and change, 65 and change, something like that.
Okay.
Another thing I want to just add into there is, I think that this could very well be related to that massive 40x long leverage we saw going into the Trump. I forget what it was. It was like 3 weeks ago, and I'm hearing rumblings. I have zero reason to believe they're more than just wild speculation, but I'm just going to throw it out there anyway. Yeah. That this could be signaling to market makers that it's time to get down to business. What does that mean? I don't know. I'm not smart enough to postulate on that, but I think it's really fascinating to watch, just from a market mechanics perspective, how we do react, whether we get squeezed here, whether we see all hell break loose. Either way, it's going to be really exciting to watch.
Because the way I look at it is that I'm only interested in this guy for the ability to have him squeezed, right? So you saw me just put an alert there, so I put an alert right under that price, because that liquidation, and you got to imagine that, again, because you can see these things, right? There's people, there's the tinfoil hat people that think market makers hunt retail orders, right? They don't care about your 200 share order on Tesla. They just could
Sure
not
feels
care
like
less.
it. Sure feels like it.
Sometimes, yeah. But I guaranteed everybody cares about this guy's $500 million liquidation price, right? It's kind of the same too with MicroStrategy. Everyone always is trying to calculate at what point does that Ponzi scheme blow up, because that, to me, I want to know a little bit before, so I have buy orders ready. I think the biggest screaming buy that's ever going to happen in Bitcoin is when the MicroStrategy Ponzi explodes finally. You're going to get a 30% downtick, and it's going to happen instantaneously. And right, you better be a buyer then. I think that's going to be like a generation.
I got something for you, my friend. I got something for you. I got someone that says, no, 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 no. Here you go. Here you go. Your friend.
33 points, and we're in this
macro risk off zone.
Risk off zone. When that flips, I think Bitcoin will rip forward with a vengeance.
With a vengeance.
So the guy running a Ponzi scheme is talking his book so his Ponzi scheme can continue. So I don't think that surprises anybody, right?
What I thought was funny, I was like, these guys had a financial conference on Miami Beach out in the open? Do they not know how hot it is? Dude, it was 89 degrees here in where I am in, and I'm in Palm Bay. I mean, in Miami, it had to be in the 90s. Who the hell wants to be in the sun?
That future proof?
Yeah, dude, future proof, man. And everyone was putting like secretly in their comments, I'm getting roasted, but I'm learning. I feel like a chicken in a rotisserie chicken, but
I would die. I don't do well with the heat.
No, man. Even the number one thing that a Miami person does, I grew up in Miami. The number one thing we do is get away from the heat. we purposely try our best to just, our number one thing is trying not to sweat and look like a sweaty pig. So why would we want to be in a suit at Miami Beach conference out in the sun? Those guys must have been looking like literally like they went to Wet and Wild by the time the thing was over, man. I don't understand that one, but hey, I'm sure it was cheaper putting it on the beach.
Maybe that's an economic indicator, right? How much are they pinching pennies on their Bitcoin conference?
I mean, there's the Miami Convention Center, which isn't really the most expensive thing. It's a really old building. They could have done it there, but they wanted to make it South Beach like, right?
Probably not locals that didn't know the.
Yeah, man. I think it takes someone that's been in South Beach to realize, like, man, it's a great place. It's a great place to hold like events and let's say private parties, right? Like at the hotels and stuff like that, pool parties. But on the actual South Beach, there's two things you do: go to the water or suntan. That's it, man. Enough of my nonsense. Let's go take a look into the stocks. What do you guys think about Nvidia today? And do you guys think that it's going to get the lift? I mean, it's a 1 p.m. kind of conversation, right? Was I right on the time? I'm pretty sure that's.
I think so, yeah. And I'm watching a lot of these quantum scams. Just because.
Ooh, they're getting beat. Wow.
Yeah,
dude. I wanted a short QBT this morning, and man, that thing fell like a tank.
That's wild.
Well. A, I think it's a sell the news event. And then B, I think no one really realized or looked into, because when I was, on StockTwits looking at these feeds, everyone was getting so hyped up for this quantum day. And it turns out it's a 1 hour panel, like fireside panel, with like 10 people on it. So you're talking like 5 to 10 minutes each for a speech. And they think that this is somehow going to change these incredibly money losing kind of companies. So these are, again, super, super interesting, I think, but I'm putting them on the list for, again, I need to start looking at these things in the pre-market, because right there's the blue arrow short, and then there's the profit target. That would have been amazing. But so I have that one on list. One thing I took here in the pre-market, my first pre-market trade, is this SRPT. You can see a lot of struggling to get through VWAP all in this area. So I'm long a little bit here, stop the low of the day, And then again, that 1-to-1 target. Some of the other ones, Tesla, it's just the amount of time this thing is spending under VWAP. I just want this thing just to pop through to get a little bit of a trade there. And I may actually trade, was it TSL?
TSLL.
L. There you go.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I think there's a couple. That's the one I use.
That's
the
the
two
truth.
times.
There's a couple.
So that's the one I'll probably trade, but I'm going to put the alert on TSLA, right? It's just way less buying power needed for TSLL.
There's
and
also just to
XPEV.
give the couple other those two leverages: TSLQ, TSLR, and TSLL, and then TSLG. Just to add one more.
Oh,
Sure,
man,
why
what
not?
stage is it? So many.
So there's a
I'm-
leverage, there's a direction, there's a granite shares, and there's a trader. So
XPEV,
pick
also
your
on the
vehicle.
list. Right, it's another
XPEV, is this a
EV.
long watch or is this a short watch?
Well, it would have been a short in the morning, but again, I missed these. I really should change my gym visit and start trading these things in the open.
Well, just
and then
maybe it's just you just testing it out, right? Like, like I talk about, like that one share type of trade, where if you're in the gym and you get caught, well, you ain't gonna stress it, right? But at least you start testing to see if it's gonna be worth your opportunity cost to miss out on the gym, right? Because hey, the gym's important, guys. As for traders, I think it's one of the most important things.
Yep. Well, and then definitely, it would have to be. I got to move it to a different time.
Yeah, because you gotta get your workout in, man. Traders, it's important. I know that you guys don't hear too much about your physical health as much as your mental health, but it's so important, guys. It
Absolutely.
helps to keep the frustrations low, and I think one of the things, and I gotta find it. It's from one of the good psychologists. It's like coaching one that he's with SMB Capital. He put out something yesterday. Yeah, he put out a really good post yesterday about how sometimes trading is just about learning how to deal with kind of a frustration moment and things like that, and then getting through that, right? Like, how do you get through that? The traders that struggle the most, they can't get through their frustration. They just can't get around that, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's so important. And one of the ways that I think is an easy way to get through that frustration, well, take it out on the iron, man.
Mhm.
Don't take it out on the trading.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the last two from the list here is this Haro, Haro, this potential short in through here. The VWAP's moving a little bit faster for that, so there might not be too much of a play there. And then this RGC Biopharma, again, that's another one I should have taken in the pre-market. So to be honest, looking at these now, going through them 4 minutes to the open, it's not a lot here. So basically, I'm looking to buy Tesla and MicroStrategy maybe, and those are the only two kind of plays, which is fine, right? What I got to do is I got to teach myself how not taking any trades if there's no setups for my system are fine. I spend the 2 hours working on new systems, and then when it comes to the SPY, again, what I'm watching for, we zoom out here, is this. I'll do the pre-market high and low as always, but just this level right here. And the reason for that, if we go to the 30-minute chart, let's do it over here because it's nicer. This area has been huge, right? We talked about this already this morning, but if people are piling in now, this 563 resistance 4 or 5 times. When we broke out there, we came back and tested it. It acted as support. We had a nice rip into the end of the day, and now we're back to it again. So this zone is kind of the zone to play. So the only really S&P 500 or market play I would take is that. So really, I've got 3 ideas. We'll see. I'm going to leave these other ones on watch because there's a chance, for example, that Qubit rips off the open and gets above VWAP and then breaks down later in the day or something like that. But yeah, everything I wanted to short.
What do you guys think about that Baidu chart?
I love it, man. I'm a massive China bull, have been all year long, and I think we're finally with the
we
Chinese
know how
stimulus.
Michael feels about China, but what about this one now? Like,
I love it. I think that this is one of the best opportunities to play the catch-up trade to Baba. I think that we've been just watching and waiting for the Chinese stimulus news, and lo and behold, we got it. We even got some details in a meeting on Monday. I am pounding the table, continuing to pound the table long China. And I think Baidu is a great way to play it. I'm also watching JD. I'm watching XPEV like Michael, and I'm watching BYDD. BYD. Let's see. I think on Fidelity it's BYDF or something. But yeah, I'm watching all of those names, and also TIGR. That's like Chinese Robinhood. That's a good squeeze play. Potential.
That's a nice looking chart,
right? Yeah, it's really pretty. And these guys have just been getting beat while Bob has been ripping, and I've been flipping tables over here. Like, why can't we get some broad-based, rotation? But it makes sense, waiting for the stimulus. So I could not be more bullish China, which means it's probably going to die. But
Good morning, chat out there. I seen some comments out there. We got some watch out there. It's good to see you guys out in the chat. Definitely keep it going. And we got a mention here from Watch It Grow. They want to know a little bit more about level 2, support and resistance, and how you see it on TradingView. You use TradingView, Steve? Is that what
I
you
do.
use?
I'll be completely honest. I'm not a big level 2 guy. That's honestly.
There's no level 2 on TradingView either.
Yeah, none on
you
trading.
can't see it at least on there, but we'll talk a little bit about it during the show. I'll pull it up a couple of times and show you guys a little bit of something to look there. Another thing to think about on level 2, though, I think it takes time and experience, and it matters more about what style of trade you're looking at, right? If you're trading those penny stocks or like the fast movers, I think that's where it matters more, and something that you need to really be kind of tracking. When you're taking, like, let's say a giant swing trade, might be looking more at like volume profiles and things like that, right?
Yeah,
that's my game. I'm a massive volume profile guy.
Yeah. Well, here's the bell, guys. Go trading out there. I'll be looking at some China names, looking to see if we get some downside action out the gates here. At least that's the way I think it could start. We'll find out. Only one way to look at it. Let's go do it. AMD is still an interesting name for me too. Like I mentioned how it could get that momentum start, and it got a pretty good day yesterday. Let's see if it can hold on today.
And when the action from open cools down a little, I have some stock picks for us too, but I don't want to interrupt the flow here.
Let's do it. No worries, my friend. Everyone's looking around to see what happens here out the gates. The small names, man, I could not find anything today.
One to keep on your watch, SES. This is the only AI name presenting at NVIDIA, and they actually held up so much better than all the quantum stuff that we were looking at. So this is on my watch list. I'm kicking myself. I was talking about it this weekend in my community, and I did not take the trade. It was up 30% when I checked it open. So, that's the one that you go, oh, throw your hands up in the air. I missed it, but
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it, man.
It's got a lot of room if it's real,
I mean, it has $1 written all over it, right? So
that's what I'm thinking. There's a massive profile shelf right up there, and it wants to go home. Go home. It's like, what is that, Billy Madison?
It.
Oh, nice pop, right to your level. Look at that.
Yeah, so Tesla's popping a VWAP, so that's gonna go on watch here. I need to go to TSLL for a second because again, I've got this little risk management box that I built.
INDP were ripping into small caps.
We did just sweep the pre-market lows on SPY. That's worth noting. My next level of interest is call it 564. Why not? Round numbers are good. That's right there, but that's Friday's high.
Lucid showing up on the scanners.
Yeah, that was a nice little...
maybe it's finally time.
The dreamers, baby.
Man, the precision of these VWAPs is so impressive to watch, Michael. I really love seeing it. That's a thing of beauty, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been a good setup for me. It's gotten me finally funded and less embarrassed about things. So now we need to
looking for one more rejection in QBTS off of the kind of the 1020 area.
I want to put one name on our radar here, FCX. I took a long yesterday. I think that it follows perfectly with a couple themes I'm watching. Michael, you were mentioning the strength in RSP. I think that they get a bid in that way. I think all commodities are looking pretty good. And also it's an indicator for growth in China and stateside. But, so I think that there's a nice parallel there. Then it's up 1.7% right now, broke the 40 handle, which is pretty key. So I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, so we're, still obviously very early, but we're hanging out near lows here. No real lift to be had. No close on Tesla over that price yet. So we'll see if we can get something like that. But we're just watching here for, what's the first drive? Because we haven't even had, we're still inside the first 2-minute range. So we still haven't had a little opening drive to start playing with yet.
Stock shooting up your H row, man, on the opposite side now. That thing's strong. Just had it on the chart, but it's a strong.
Sorry, another one here. Tiger that we were just mentioning is up 6% pre-market here, or on open here. So that's a ripper there.
Tigger.
I sure wish I took it 5 minutes ago.
Tigger.
The wonderful thing about Tigger is they go up 6% in 2 minutes.
Hey, is the China stock, right? I mean,
yeah, it's got juice. It's like Chinese Hood, Robin Hood. Can't short that now.
All right, guys, looking to maybe get short QBTS here. I'm going for it at least. I got a starter on here. I'm going to give it a chance to see if it goes to the 1020 here with only 100 shares. But if it doesn't break that and it starts to get back towards the 980s, that's where I want to really hammer it. And QBTS.
I got to say, all the green things on my watch list are not things I want to see on a green day. We're talking gold and shipping. And
GLD, nice breakout. Gold 3,000, right?
I got my alert saying short the heck out of gold, and I looked at the chart. I'm like, I'm not shorting that. What? I wanted to short the 3,000 handle, but no, thank you. I guess we're onwards and upwards.
Shorting on QBTS.
Ooh, that's a gnarly breakdown in SPY so far.
Watching that. Yeah. The SPY down here and looks like it might be testing these lows. So again, one trade I want to take is if we undercut these lows for a little bit and then we hold, that's a shot that I want to take potentially to the long side there.
All right, Michael, I didn't get a chance to mention it pre-market, but I just wanted to mention, because I know we had some confluence there around that 560 handle. I just want to throw out 562.50. That is the major 50% fib of, I forget the exact range, but it's basically a massive leg from, I think, last September or so to here. So that's a very logical place for it to catch. And I saw a really nice response off of that yesterday. So I'm going to be looking for that again.
All right, guys, about to take some profits here in QUBTS. Quick trade, and then I'll look for the bounce to 10 to short it again.
Beautiful. Get your money, brother. Isn't it nice to get paid early?
Oh, yeah.
Love to see it.
Trying to see it break the 60s here, and then I just take it all off. Come on. Bounce coming on the 70s here.
Yeah, watching the market to see if it holds. It's right. It's under that level, that 264-ish, and see if it can get back.
Let's go.
Let's go.
One solid trade. Remember what I said in the pre-market? I was like, yo, I'm tired, man. I got to do this quick in the out. Make that money today and be smart. Because I'm not as sharp as I normally am, guys. And when you're not as sharp, I just wanted to take it simple. I saw QUBTS, and what did I see? I'll show you guys it on my not so pretty chart. Or at least some traders will say that they don't like these charts too much. What are these, guys? Oh, some bars, guys.
Monkey bars.
So I just see, I could see the on the 5. I'll show you guys it on the 5. What do we see? Down 1, up 1, down 2, up 2, down 3, up 3. And then I said, can it come back there and reject that 1020? Exactly kind of what it did. It went right to it, 1020, rejection. And I just said, cut 980s, right? That's when the flow would actually break that support and give me a little gain there. I didn't expect it to be like straight to 9. So that's why I'm taking the profits here. Now it's going to be big. Can it recover 10 on a bounce?
Nice trading stuff. Already out for the day. Shorted SCNX. Got a nice move. Very nice. I think it's so key. Mitch, you were mentioning this too, that there's this fatigue, decision fatigue that all traders get, the mental capital that we got to watch. And the more decisions you make in a day, the worse your decision processing will be. So hit while the iron's hot, get your money and get out. I love it.
And you guys know I've been kind of on the struggle here as of late, especially with the kind of the funded account. It's been a battle for me, right? And I always tell you guys how it is, right? Like when it's going good and when it's going bad, man, because it's not always going to be perfect, right? And so one of the things I wanted to show you kind of was the kind of how the equity wave is finally starting to turn. I think this is important. One of the things that I started doing was I just said, you know what? Let's just piece it back, man. Let's not try to get it back on one trade. Let's start piecing it back, and I'm starting to piece it back, right? Starting to get it back, and that's important. This would be higher on my screen. It says 117 and it says 18. Why? Because I told you guys I've been making some kind of mistake sometimes where it's like the 10-cent win, right? And got to make sure that you're getting it above that 10 cents, right? So make sure you're getting that. So you don't end up like me looking at your account and being like, but I'm up 117. No, you're not. No, you're not. You got to know the rules. Got to know the rules, guys. So there was this 51 and this 22-1 that kind of put that impact in there. But back to the positive, that's what matters. I don't have a 45-day time limit, right? Just got to stay consistent, keep battling, and that's the important thing here. All right, kicking it to you guys. You guys can tell us how the charts are looking and what you guys are watching out there.
No lift in the SPY yet, right?
Yeah,
we're below that zone. We're hanging out below that zone. So I'm looking for a pop.
Is this the wash or the right shoulder? Or the right shoulder?
That's what I'm thinking. So I'm watching this 562.50 here coming up.
I'm telling you, man, that chart yesterday, that thing got me ticked. I was like, man, if I was a CMT, man, I would be upset.
Yeah, that was a bit of a stretch for sure. I know Frank. I'll tell him. I'll tell him about your ire.
Yeah, I don't mind like being bullish, right? Just don't try to. And what I said was, where's the neckline on the drawing? You didn't even draw the neckline.
No neckline.
The neckline's the more important thing, guys. It's not the right shoulder that matters. It's the breaking of the neckline that matters. And this is why, at least I know that you read the books, Michael, and the head and shoulders pattern isn't some of the best ones to draw because you sometimes will say the neck pattern is here, but then the next trader will say the neck pattern's here.
And I believe they only have about a 55% hit rate, so it's basically gambling, you know? I mean, maybe I'm fudging it a little.
That's why I hate that pattern, right? I'm just not a fan of saying that that's the pattern to like look for in the charts. I think it's a pattern to look for development, right? Like if you see it, then start to give me like maybe a moving average or an indicator. Like I'm looking for an inverse head and shoulders, but with a MACD cross on the daily, something like that, right? Now you're combining something to try to help you find the momentum. That Tigger. Can we get that one on the pullback here? I'm looking, guys. I'm looking.
Did you guys see that response to 50 or 62.50 there? It's just a very first response, but I'm seeing some buyers in there.
Okay. One thing, the 2-day VWAP, I think my little indicator here is on the fritz, so got to look at that. But we're starting to get a little bit. I'm seeing a little bit of bounce maybe coming in.
Super early. But I'm just noticing a little bit of a change of tape there. That's all.
For my game plan, I want it back over this zone. Like I want it to come back through and just show, okay, that was just a fake out. We got a lot of people short. We got a lot of people out. It's time to just fake those people out and take a trade. So far, a little bit of bounce.
Yeah. Yesterday, of course, all green on my sector tape. And look at all that. It's bloody red, man.
Blood in the streets.
Bloody red, man.
Energy,
the only thing starting to bounce a little bit, the financials. So not a bad place to see, right?
I was going to say, are you guys watching JPM like a hawk, like I am?
Yeah, I think that's the one to watch, right? I mean, Goldman Sachs, another one, right? Yeah. I think you continue to watch the banks, man. And like I talked about it, I feel like the eyes go to tech immediately when we rally back, but I'm looking for those other sectors. I'm looking for that XLI to stay strong today. It went down there, started to get into that red. Let's see if it can take back off. The concern for me, if XLI breaks this 130, I'll start looking at the bear side of things. Let's just say that. All right, let's look around. That Tigger right back up, man. 825's held a couple of times, right back to 847 there, looking pretty well on Tigger.
JP Morgan looks
crazy. I'm not saying to buy it up here necessarily. I'm not looking at the chart myself at the moment, but just for swing traders and stuff, keep an eye on it because man, it's got room.
Ooh, nice looking chart on that JPM. I'm with you.
JPM, I just want to mention, me and my friends love talking about these 200-day moving average. We call them crime.
Yeah, I'll put you up, my friend, so you can show that a little bit.
Oh, yeah, let me do that. Great. All right. So we love talking about crime taps of the 200-day moving average, where longer-term investors have been waiting for so long to get this 200-day buy. Last time was October, 2023. And lo and behold, it taps and goes, right? You see this so much on quality names. They're saying, okay, we're up on stilts here. Can't buy it here. Can't buy it here. Can't buy it here. Can't buy it here. But I'm buying here. So I'm long from the 200 in the big boy account, and I'm pretty happy with that. And if we come back and fill this gap a little more, I am buying more. I love JPM. I think quality banks are a great place to be. With the trend of deregulation, I think they are one of the biggest beneficiaries of this kind of stuff. So policy wise, I think it's a great play. Technicals wise, I think it's a great play. When you got that confluence, that's a fat pitch for me.
Yeah, it's definitely seeming like right out the gates a little bit of a choppy day. I've seen some bounces, some flush downs, and it just seems like we're going to get a little bit of some chop here, guys.
And
keeps going.
There we go. We're smoking. That's scary.
I think we knew where the max pain was right out the gates, at least. I'm telling you, man. Like Michael says, he looks for those bears out there on Twitter. I saw those bulls. Chest high yesterday.
You making money? You're calling the plays. I love to see it, man.
No, and one of the things is I follow, of course, like a lot of like the institutional type, right? The guys that talk to like a lot of the bigger money, and I mean, I always feel like the truth is that you can find statistics to support a lot of theories, whether it's bull or bear side, right? So they'll always have a way of looking at things in one way, and I don't think that's nothing wrong because that's their job, right? Let's just be honest. That's their job, right? And I think what I look for is there anything in there that they're just trying to spin a little bit too fast, right? Same thing for the Bears when the Bears start spinning things really quickly, right? And so I could see yesterday just being like, let's hold this rally a little bit longer, right? Trump hasn't said anything in a little while. He could instantly ruin this, man. So watch out, guys. And the VXX, one of the ways that I'm looking to see if maybe I take a trade today, and it was all about that 50 recovery. And boy, oh boy, it's been straight up there, man. Straight up. I just got that 9 EMA test on that 50. That should have been my entry right there. On the VXX.
we're getting really stretched here, right? It's certainly not going to just kind of pop in and buy, but we're getting to yesterday's pre-market low. So it might be that felt very flushy, for lack of a better word. Like that was, that wasn't an orderly sell-off. Let's just, put some offers out there and sell. That seemed like some sort of kind of liquidation type event or shoot down. And I'm just looking here. We got nothing on the economic calendar, right? Yeah, not a thing.
I think so. So
that just felt, that was just really, really quick. So it just kind of felt like someone really just pushed the gas there to the short side.
We are seeing some tentative buyers. I'm not one of them, trust me. But I mean, we are at our, kind of second bearish ATR target. There are more. Don't get me wrong. This is kind of like a level 3 on a Camarilla pivot type system. So just something to keep in mind that we are pretty stretched down here. I'm with you, Michael. But that was a spooky dump. I'm not gonna lie. I'm glad I didn't get caught with my pants down.
I felt like that might have been a news type of something going on, but.
It's just the wash, man. It's the wash. They like they wash you and then they bake you, man. And I'm telling you,
like
man.
Laundry. Mitch is like, everything is going according to plan. That wasn't news.
Dude, it's just the max pain trade. Even someone earlier told me, but Mitch, I was talking to my friends yesterday, and I was telling them about a quote that you say all the time, that the maximum pain, that's day trading life, guys. That's the day trading life, man. And it's tough to deal with, man. You need to be as flexible as can be in the day trading game and just trying to run with the momentum, whether that be on the bull or bear side. That's what I've learned. And it's very hard to be like, you were extremely bullish yesterday and now I need to be extremely bearish. Like, it's very hard to have that mentality and flip back and forth.
Well, then it's also waiting for the moment. So just have H row here. So I end up taking that trade right in this area. So I'm short that name. And then the only other one, I still have this SRPT from the morning. It's just done absolutely nothing, right? Stop at low, target kind of up here. It's just been chopping about. So just waiting. Tesla again, if XPEV, if any of these things can kind of dig in, hold on. For that, we just need the market to stop tanking. Doesn't need to rip, just needs to stop selling off, right? So at least again, the opening drive, we're only 12 minutes into the day, so there's a lot of action to be done. But the opening sentiment at least is down a little bit.
Short
So
QBST again.
looking to see what this next move is, right? Is this a down day or?
I just took the tiniest. I am preaching caution here, but I'm seeing a 3 knock trying to continuation pattern on TIGR. It is a chase. I'm doing this, very small size. I'm letting people know, but it is starting to work here.
Yeah, it didn't look bad there. It keeps holding the 9 EMA on pullbacks. It's done 2. And look, maybe once you get that 3rd, be a little careful, but it's strong. It's strong for sure.
And this is this is a name that I have on my radar because of our friend Kevin here in chat. He's been dead on about a lot of China names, and I'm glad I've been paying attention a little bit. What a move. This thing's crazy. I think for the swing traders, keep this one on your radar if it pulls back at all, because it's we got volume coming in there.
We're bouncing pretty good here on the SPY too. A little bit of a lift here for the market, right? Nothing crazy, but
might get my first stop out today, guys. I'm trying to get this QUBTS to reject the high of the day, which is 1044s, but I got a risk about 1043 here. The idea was that it went through that 1020, right? So if I thought I was shorting at 1020, my stop was probably 1040. I got triggered there, and now I'm trying to get in off of that trigger, right? So somebody got stopped out. I'm looking for that move right back in QUBTS. I'll show you guys that really quickly here. QUBTS rejecting that move above towards the 1040s, and now I'm going to look to see if it sweeps right back down to the support.
One more name, a little less exciting than your guys' name, but FCX is starting to push off of a base. It dumped pretty heavily in the morning. I was mentioning it was up 2%. Now it is about 0.75%. So I'm keeping an eye on it. Just keeping an eye on it. I believe in the name. Also, mentioning stops. My stop is at break even here on TIGR, because if this thing flushes, it could flush pretty significantly. So definitely protect risk. And I'm trading light today into FOMC here.
Yeah, the SPY's looked like it was going to be bleeding down to lows there, but caught a little bit of a bid. Potential, just a battle going on right here at this kind of 561.5. So this is again the question to see if it will hold. If it can hold and then push back through VWAP, then that's going to be probably a trade I'll take. But if we're just going to continue to bleed here, I've got my H row short, and that's about it this morning. Just kind of watching, waiting.
I'm break even now, guys. If the trade works for me and it flushes down the support, I cash, baby. And if it comes back, I don't worry about getting out, because this is one of those types of trades. You're Tigger, though. Tigger, baby.
It's hopping all right, ain't it? So I will be taking I'll take a third off at $9 here. It looks like we're gonna get it, but I want to leave some runners, because man, look at that. Woo. Cooking. I'm also watching VIX and SPY. I've got my handy dandy Ripster EMA clouds that I really think are very visually intuitive, So we're cooking the red ribbon on SPY, we're cooking green on VIX. So I'm watching those, but still downtrend in SPY, uptrend in VIX until that breaks and then back tests. So that's where I'm at.
All right, guys. I gave myself about $10 of risk there. It felt like the market makers were trying to come and grab those 1020s, 1024s. So I pushed it up to 1032, an immediate rejection there. I felt like I wasn't the only one that was like, no, don't come get me, bro. So here we go on QUBTS. Now I'm feeling a lot more confidence. Back down towards the 1015. If it could break 10, I feel like we could go towards the support. And the support could be that area where it actually could break through there, right? So that's 960. Good risk to return here. I'll just stick with the trade.
I am just about to be getting my profit filled here on TIGR. I actually am going to shut up so I don't jinx my play 5 cents away.
Yeah, I was about to say, careful.
Just because I'm a little bit antsy now, I'm going to move it down to 898, because that's still a 4.5% move in 5 minutes. That's good enough for me.
Steph wants us to take a look at SCNX. I know you're in a trade too, my friend. I got a break even stop, so I'll take a look at it. I got you. SCNX here. Let's take a look at that. And Steph was talking about this long, shorted SCNX. Let's take a look at what you were looking at there. So this to me is my classic VWAP fade. So VWAP fade is just break a support. But for me, that's the thing here. Like, I feel like I would be personally looking for this support to break first and then it comes back to VWAP. That's just my strategy there. But yeah, if you're shorting off of the VWAP there, I think you just got to be looking at the kind of the 15-minute high, something like that can give you a level to go off of. This level here makes sense because it has that kind of body right to the left-hand side. So maybe the 317, slightly above that could be your risk, because above that, you're going to get that kind of breakout opportunity going back towards this candle, right? But personally, I like to see the 274 break and it come back into that zone, right? Between 3 and 274, then I'm coming after it. But it's all about how you want to either get in front of the move or after the move already breaks, right?
Really quickly, I want to mention I am adjusting my strategy on TIGR just because I didn't realize how big of a move it was. I now have my stop at 877 because 3% in 5-7 minutes, that's still good enough for me if we don't get the push up. And I will be taking off I'll be taking off 3/4 at 9, or into 9 I should say, and leaving runners just because it's a high flyer. I love the name, but I'm also very biased because of that, so I want to check my biases and not get skinned on something overextended.
The Tigger, bro. Baidu on the hourly pullback, guys. 30-minute pullback if you want to take that chart, right? Nice undercut underneath the 104. Now starting to come back. So I like that looking chart on Baidu.
I bought into the Ponzi scheme a little bit here.
Let's go. Michael's bags.
Right, so
Other Michael.
MSTR.
All right, guys, I just think I got out of QBTS. We'll look for the flush down again.
I'm not liking this candle on TIGR, so I'm going to manually take just a little bit off. I'm going to let it do its thing and trust my process here, but just keeping full transparency for the boys.
For the boys.
Yeah. So
Always
MSTR putting in a bit of a wick here, but closed above the the VWAP, right, triggering that green arrow. Should have. I don't know why it didn't. Let's see if this one does. But so then I picked a little bit up, and then again I did MSTX just because it's 10% the cost, so I can just not spend as much buying power, right? It's one thing I always pay on the table on these leverage ETFs. There's the blue arrow or the green arrow. A lot of people get confused and say, okay, 2 times leverage, great. That means I can take more risk. It's like, no, you can take the same risk. You can just use less buying power doing it, right? So that's what I did there. But the SPY needs to help out here, right? We're continuing to bleed down here to new lows. So, any long that I want to take outside of China, right? Steve's TIGR is just ripping. Then I just need, just the SPY to stop. Doesn't need to rip, just needs to stop for now.
Leading downside technology, cyclicals, and defensive.
Just on that note, really quickly, if SPY does catch, I'm more inclined to hop out of my China trade because I have been noticing the money kind of sloshing back and forth a little bit, especially yesterday.
They run to China and then they come back.
Yeah, so we're cooking me here. It looks like I'm getting stopped out here in just 1 second.
Yeah, that 560 spot where I was looking at, we're coming right into that 560.75. We'll see if we get there. It's 561 right now, but man, I'm sure the bulls right now scratching their heads,
all right,
wondering what the hell's going on here.
I just got stopped out. I took half of my profit at 3.5%, and on the manual one that I mentioned, and then I just got stopped out of the rest for 2.5%. So. I got a little greedy, Michael. You saw it happen in real time. I called my shot, and that's what happens. So, learning lesson.
Say it's about to hit my target, and you should just get out. So, I'm still watching. Again, the next level we talked about, right? This is the anchored VWAP right here from the low of this move, right? We're still up pretty significant from the all-time lows, or from the recent swing lows, I should say. Right? We're still up. 2 or 3% from there. So there's the VWAP, and basically just means if people were dollar costing average from this low print, the price is right here. So it'll be very interesting to see if we get a bounce here. If we do, then on a lower time frame, I might look to take a shot. But it's not something that I'm super into right now, as things are bleeding, right? So then I also highlighted 560, which was just kind of this zone in here, the pre-market pre-market low after the bounce. So that's another area to watch. So we got some areas here, but obviously the trend for the morning for the SPY here is to the downside anyway.
Yeah, and we did just hit the first ATR target here, and the smallest of buy candles there. I'm going to keep an eye on it. I think we probably sweep out the 560 handle minimum here, just because market loves round numbers, going for those stops, going for my stops, Michael, personally.
Yeah,
so
market makers looking at you.
Oh, I mean, I'm a handsome fella, so can you blame him?
So yeah, this VWAP I'm watching. I'm watching this VWAP super closely just to make sure that we can, if we dig in here, maybe a little bit of a nibble, like a micro contract or something like that. But
all right, I've released the cat. Usually markets pivot when I let my cat up to eat, so keep an eye on it, boys. Also, that's usually at 7 o'clock. That might be more relevant, but or 10 o'clock market.
GBTS, guys, just held the pullback that I did not short. There's a reason why I started to hold above VWAP there. A big test there on that. Now starting to hold off this 1050 area. So my bearish side of me starts to just be tamed, right? There's no need to be kind of getting big short here on a stock above VWAP, right? When it comes back below 10, if we stay bearish, yeah, I'll be watching for that. But for right now, it's on the sideline and I go looking elsewhere, right? That's all I got to do.
so is that today, the
this is today.
quantum thing?
Yeah. Oh, no, the quantum thing's on the 20th. But today you'll get comments from the CEO of NVIDIA that might make mentions of quantum.
So when it doesn't,
he's the one that poo-pooed
sell
these
the news
stocks.
event, right?
So one thing's for certain, I'm sure his PR said, hey, make a positive mention about quantum. You're having a quantum day in 2 days. Don't say anything negative about quantum today.
Why?
If not, these companies are
Right?
going to hate you in 2 days.
Michael's like the nothing ever happens meme.
You're the CEO of one of the largest capitals in the world. What if a bunch of tiny, insignificant little stocks aren't fans of yours? Like,
that's why he said it. That's why we both know that's why he said it. But then he got the backhand. He got the like when you're a kid and you're reaching up for something, he got the don't touch that.
But from who? From a $500 million company? Like, he could buy it with it.
Whoever was on his PR was like, man, when these companies do good, we win also. When they do bad, we do not win.
Yeah, fire those guys, right? It doesn't, like, fire that PR team. It's like you don't make GPUs for quantum computers, so just have that.
That's true too, man. That's true too. I'll be honest about that.
But I stay for the banter, I gotta say.
The weakness that I need to see turn around today. It's right here.
Financials.
Come on, man.
It was strong for a second there.
I still believe we got some room.
So that's why I feel like, I just feel like all the eyes are on technology, but technology is not what's going to raise this market back, man. I just don't see it. The AI bubble, and I still hear it in everybody. Everyone's like, but AI is important, guys, but it's all about the money. Show me the money on the bottom of the revenue, right? Like, if you're making money with AI, yes, I'm all for you. But if it's just a free feature that you're just throwing it out there to try to get more customers, and then you're spending hundreds of millions of dollars to do that, that's where the silence go.
I also think it's important to note that everybody is so bullish on the AI narrative and saying, of course, it justifies these parabolic moves. And then the parabolic move retraces 50%, and everybody's fire and brimstone. It's like, maybe you overshot. Maybe this is a healthy price action, discovering what the actual value is, So
one sign was another thing was and I always tell you guys, my man Carl called. He's back in Palantir. That was one of my signs where I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I don't know
mean,
either.
what is your thought process in this? And I'll never like poo-poo traders just for the taking a shot, right? But
Yeah.
tell me what you're doing, right? Is this a trade? Is this an investment? Is this a swing trade? Michael says it all the time. What's your time frame? Because
Oh, yeah.
that's what we need to determine first before I
Oh.
tell you about how I feel about a trade. Because I won't even mention it if you don't give me your time frame, right? And then
Yeah.
he mentioned, yeah, I'm a trader, but I view this one more as an investment. And I was like,
Oh,
okay,
that's danger.
okay, that can be fine. But I instantly told him one of the things that I like to do if I think that. I like to separate the accounts, right?
Yeah.
I don't
that's
like
so
to
good.
be in my trading account and it be my investment account also. Because the number one thing that can hurt you sometimes is just seeing red, right? And if you're holding an investment and then you're making trades, you make a good trade, but then your investment's actually washing that money that you made out for the day, start to feel really bad about it, right? You're like, I'm making money and still losing more. Hey, so those are all things that I think we need to be thinking about. But I think the Bulls are doing this themselves.
Well, and
I'm
it's
sure they're
one
loading up in hymns like they were yesterday.
it's one big benefit of trade the pool as well, right? Is that you can have your trading happen in not only just a separate account, but a separate entity altogether. When you're
Mhm.
you're trading someone else's money, and then when you're investing your money. Like that's
It,
just
it
to me a great way to do it.
it really is such a weight off my shoulders, and I it helps me a ton. So I love it, and I love the feature set too, because I've traded with other prop firms and I've been very underwhelmed, and I've been like, oh, I'll just use my own money. But
Mhm.
I'm glad that you guys found me and I found you. It's a good thing.
It's Steph Hoppin, but she wanted to know a little bit more about stop loss and trailing on that SC. Which one was the ticker there?
SCNX.
SCNX.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now, I hate trailing stops.
Yeah.
I just hate them, man. They just don't work for me. So I rather, if I want to, I'll just put a stop. If I need to walk away, I'll put a stop, right? Especially on a fast mover, I'm going to have to put a stop. That's why I don't put on stops, because I'm here and I'm active and I'm going to watch it. And yes, I might give up a couple pennies near my stop, but that shouldn't be the factor that makes or breaks me, right?
Right.
Then I'm too big. If I miss a stop by 1 penny or 2 pennies, and it's just like the world is ending, well, that tells me I'm just too big too, right?
Well, it's your discipline, right? If you can trust yourself to exit the position, if you can trust yourself to punch out when your area is hit, then yeah, you can leave a floating stock. If you're
Mhm.
someone that at all suffers with discipline problems, put the stop out. Right? And I think that's the biggest thing, is that as
Yeah.
long as you trust yourself to say, right, if this thing hits $10, I'm out. If it hits $10 and you know you're going to pull the trigger and get out, if you're one of those people that starts rationalizing to yourself and, oh no, maybe I'll give it till 9 or maybe I'll give it to 8. It's like, well,
Yeah.
then,
Yeah.
you know,
That's once you move the goalposts, you're already cooked.
yeah.
So for some days I just know myself and I know that I'm like, I got a chip on my shoulder, and then I have hard stops. Other times I'm like Money Mitch and I'm feeling good. And then I wait for the confirmation, because you know how they love to run your stops. One thing I will say about trailing stops, I feel like it isn't conducive to my trading style, because I'm very target oriented. I trade the chart. I don't trade my profit loss as much,
Mhm.
So it's kind of, it just doesn't make sense to my brain to have a trailing stop at a percentage. Like I'll have a trailing stop under a kilo, or a stop under a kilo. That's just
Right.
how I trade.
Yeah, the same way that the traditional, I'm going to put a 15-cent trailing stop on it. That doesn't make any sense. It's just an arbitrary number. For me, it's more just like what you mentioned, is like a moving average that you're watching, VWAP, support or
Maybe
resistance
an
zone,
ATR,
trend
right?
line,
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like that. That
absolutely.
makes
I
way
love
more
ATRs.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that I would say, even myself, like I've read about it, I know it. I don't use it as often as I should, but I should be watching more and more that ATR. I think we're going to have to just do a little bit of a deep dive to understand it a little bit. So, Michael, get to work, my friend. I need one of those great presentations. Let me
Sure.
know when you get it ready, and
Oh.
teach us how we can be maybe using ATR for kind of stops, or maybe also looking for profit also,
Yeah,
right? Because I think
that's
that's another way to look at it too, right? If you get like a 2 ATR move, right, and you're in the green, maybe it's time to take the profits, right?
Mhm.
For
Things
me,
to
it's
think
always
about.
a profit target. Yeah.
Yeah, and I use it as a trailing stop for some of my longer term trend following strategies. Is you just take the low of the day and you say, okay, I'm going to leave. So as the stock moves up, you're just a couple ATRs below that, and then as the stock moves lower, you end up getting triggered. And again, yeah, it makes more sense because it adapts to the stock, where some stocks have very wide ATRs and some have very narrow,
Mhm.
and you're adapting. But yeah, when it's like, oh, I use a 25-cent trailing stop, it's like, okay, on some things that would be fine. On other things, that's going to be awful. So yeah, it
Look at
ends
you
up being
go.
The
I should have.
trigger, the
I should
trigger,
have
the trigger.
trusted it a little more there, huh?
Did it break the 9? Let's see on the 1 if it
Oh,
broke
yeah,
the
it did.
9. Not it kind of
Oh.
held it. It did that little fake out where it did that little fake out right there, right?
They got me. And
And
yeah,
so
it is what it is. It is what it is. I'll
this
take
is
the
why
small
this
one.
is why I like the 9, guys, and maybe it's the 10, right? Maybe you move it down so it can be a little bit a little, give you a little room there, right? But that's why I like the 9 so much. Sometimes, especially on momentum, it's just like a magnet. It expands away, it pulls it back there. Expands away, pulls it back there, right? So maybe looking for a wick entry also for those traders that maybe missed the first kind of 9 EMA. Then you're looking for that wick through the 9 EMA and then a recovery there, and now you know your risk, right? Things like that.
I think in retrospect, just to critique my own trade, I don't
Yeah.
know why I was so antsy. You know, I already had a nice profit locked in. I should have left a quarter on and just let it cook. And if I got stopped out,
Happens to me all the time, my friend. Happens to me all the time, right? If you're saying you're going to take some profit and the move is to try to let it go for the big one, right? Then, just establish the stop where it's like, where if the trade breaks, you definitely know you need to get out. Maybe it's still a tiny green, but at least an ability to give yourself a little bit more room. I'll do this all the time where I'll put it like it's at 918 and I put it at like 910. It immediately just pulls back and grabs me.
Yeah, Michael, I'm seeing what you're seeing. I'm watching VIX losing its 1 minute EMA ribbon. I'm watching SPY getting some nice SPY candles every time it tries to shake back down there. So definitely something to keep an eye on. But I don't think we're quite ready.
560.75 on the SPY. We just made another wick towards that. We recovered it on the down action and just made a wick towards 560.64. I'm still watching that 560.75. I talked about it before the open, and we're right there. We bounced off of it. So bounce levels, yeah, I think this is a time where we can maybe get some bounce level back. Let's see if we get back towards the 563s, right? 563.40s, somewhere up there. I think we can start climbing back a little bit. One thing that I'm watching is the industrial space, just nothing but 15-minute down red bars, XLF right on the support, XLV right on the support. So if there's a moment where they can bring it, I'm watching those sectors to show me that they can bring it back.
One name.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, just highlighting, right? This VWAP I was talking about all day, right? We're just hanging out right there. So, this 15-minute chart now. So it's for now, but if we can hold this zone, and I'm seeing what you're seeing too with all these bottoming tails, then the next thing is VWAP, right? Do we?
Whoa! Look at this. Is there any news? Because this is a wild dump for no news. What's going on? Are we
check the streets, man? That's when I tell you I start checking the streets.
Yeah,
that was
guys.
a liquidation of something.
Yeah, that was violent. We both just jumped.
But the question is, what's next, right? Does that scare people, or is that algorithmic selling? Because that's obviously someone hitting a massive sell button.
Look, they're buying
is
it
that
up.
met with buying, right? So
they're buying it up to me.
If they buy it back up, that shows that didn't spook them. That just, there's some system that's saying to buy right here. And we can go from there. If we end up losing that low, so now I think like this low right here that was just put in, I think that's something that we really need to watch, because that was just right. Yeah. That was instant. We all saw it.
Yeah, it gave you the willy. I don't like that. It's shaking bacon.
But the fact that there's no continuation next to me, that's kind of interesting here. Means that didn't spook the market as much as it spooked us there. And again, this zone, it's crazy how these VWAPs work, and often you'll see just these buying powers, right? This anchored VWAP.
And that is the 2-day VWAP, right? The one?
No, well, this one I anchored right at the low, so right at the swing low that we have here.
I see.
So this is basically if you were buying from this major low, this was kind of your average price, and we'll see what happens if we end up holding that particular level or not. If we do, if that little flash down, that little micro flash crash ends up just continuing to get bought up by whatever buy program this is, then yeah, I'm gonna watch VWAP. So just summarize my trades quickly. I'm still in this MSTX. It's just been chopping around. I'm still in SRPT. It's not doing anything, and I'm still in HRO, and it's not doing anything. So very much now that's a funded account. I'm risking like 20, 30, 30, 40 bucks a trade, and then I'm just putting the stop loss and the profit target on them, and just whatever happens. If I'm still in them by the time the show's done, I just lock the platform and close it, and they'll get triggered at the end of the day or whatnot. But looks like we might be rolling back down. Come and test that low again. I think that low is something you need to see. I'm laser focused on right now because something spooked. Someone hit a button, but the market just doesn't seem too scared about that just yet anyway.
Yeah, I'm seeing the curling. I'm seeing VIX kind of hold. I'm not ready to take a long for sure. I think we could get the I really love trading fake breakdowns. So maybe we sweep the low. Maybe we are able to hold the low, but usually I like to see the low sweep and then reclaim a kind of key volume shelf or a key level that was tested before and seemed to show buyers. I think fake breakdowns are one of the most reliable setups you can add to your kind of tool chest, so to speak, your toolbox. So that's what I'm kind of looking for here. That's the only trade I really see in terms of indices. One name that I want to put on your guys' radar is Zim. I know I'm a psycho for trading shipping. I love this company though, and there are a lot of risks. That being said, but they posted good earnings despite a lot of potential headwinds for the sector. I think that they flushed out a lot of weak hands, and it's still in this box as Michael's showing there. We've been barcoding for so long, essentially. That I'm keeping an eye on it whenever it has relative strength, and it does today. Also, the geopolitical risks of potential conflict with Houthis, with Iran. I think we're talking about considering any Iran ships in Houthi sea space as potential targets. So, I never want to profit off war, but I will if I have to. So. Is what it is. Yeah. It's a name on my list here.
Yeah, of course, everyone's looking at the conversation between BYD and Tesla today, and there's only one thing I got to bring up, man, and I've been trying to show it, guys. I've been trying to show it and talk about it, but it's this right here, guys. The delinquencies, guys. The subprime. Look at that taking off, guys.
You got your bear suit on.
I don't think it's going to be a housing issue this time. It's going to be the other major expense, which is in the garage, guys. And the reason why is people are buying these new cars, and the car guy's like, I'm giving you a great deal. You're paying $829 a month.
When the salesperson says it's a great deal, how does that make you feel, Mitch?
Guys, when I started seeing the sales guys, and I go to like Toyota all the time to get like my oil change, right? I have a new car. But I can tell you right now, those guys, I can see it on their face, how much they're stressed out because they're trying to sell you a car. It just makes no sense for the income that you make.
Yeah. Just like another parallel there a few years back, huh, Mitch? When everybody and their mother has a third house and a vacation home, and
and the key is that we're coming from like a trough area, right? And now we're on the breakout. Look at it like a chart. We made the breakout pullback, and now we're going for it.
My friends think I'm a psycho, but I do TA on everything. So
I do too, bro. I do too. Work, I see this high, and I didn't think we'd ever come back to it, right? But now look at it.
That's a higher low, higher high in my book.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
So we are seeing a lot of interest in this area on SPY and Qs, so I'm keeping a close eye. I think that they could flush it out once more. I don't think we're out of the woods yet, but I am keeping an eye on the reclaim of this level. That's what I'd look for a fake breakdown.
I'll put you up, man. At least so we can see your charts for a little bit here.
Cool.
I'll be watching just to put in perspective, GE. $200 holding. Remember I talked about yesterday breaking GE $200? It's holding on the pullback. So watching the industrial space, the XLF, XLV, They're still on those supports, guys. They haven't broke, even though the SPY's on the leak. So just saying, keep your eyes on those.
Will do. Thank you. So, I mean, I'm a simple man. We're under the red line. I can't be too bullish yet. And you see, it's just head bunking this 9 EMA every single time. But what are we seeing? We're seeing bottom wicks posted here in 2 different kind of batches. I mean, these are buyers. I think that's worth noting because we're kind of free falling, right? So where do we stop? You know, we had some buy wicks here, and then we're undercutting that. We couldn't reclaim, so that's not a fake breakdown setup for me. We didn't sweep the lows, so I'm not in this trade. I would like to see a little more. Maybe we bump up here, we flush down, we go like this, and then you could take a trade around there or something. That's kind of what I'm looking at.
Nvidia hasn't even come back to VWAP today, guys.
Yeah, neither is Tesla, because I've got that on watch. It hasn't done nothing.
One name that I am watching is FCX, just filling out this pen here. It's showing a lot of relative strength in the market. We are over this key pivot here at 39. So I'm hoping that it can hold yesterday's lows and continue to kind of reclaim this cloud here on the hourly, keep cooking. So just on my list here in the theme of, you know, China strength. If China's strong, there's a lot of demand, for copper, and it's an economic indicator. So the bulls really want to see copper do well, I think. So do I.
Dr. Copper in technical analysis space, right? Because if it's going well, you're healthy. If it starts dipping, then not, right? Doesn't.
Ooh, you see this?
Yeah, a little undercut there. I'm still watching the SPY.
Where did we reject, guys?
9 EMA.
Behind 60, 75, baby. 77 on that army candle. Like,
but look.
I think I'm pretty sure I grabbed that from a monthly level. But I'm gonna go back to just kind of looking. Yeah, that's exactly the monthly level. It's on a monthly level from the September 30th.
So that's a good level. I think that might just be my reclaim level for a big breakdown setup. I'm gonna keep a close eye on that. Because look at this. Yeah. Look at this. Look at this. All right. So I gotta get long there.
It's a lunch spot, guys.
I'm gonna wait for the candle to close to make sure that it's not fake here, but I'm very, very tempted to take a long pretty soon.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep it simple with just the sector watch now, because like I told you guys, I wanted to be like kind of one trade and done. So I'm just watching those, and the XLF is just hanging on to that 49. Really pretty. If it can come back, the market can come back too, and it'll just wash tech and kind of stay there. What's telling me that it's not just the complete like takedown is that those sectors are not just getting wiped out, because yesterday they made a good move and they're just holding on support. We look at the hourlies, they're just sideways pretty much.
So this is why we wait for the confirmation, right? Big wick down. All right, fine. I will be a good boy. I will wait for the break in the back test, and I might not get it, and that's fine too. Look at that.
Yeah, everything's popping a little here. I see Tesla finally on the move. That's like the last thing on my list that hasn't broken VWAP for that test. So I'll take that, and I'll have 5 whole trades on. 4 right now are positive. I added XPEV, so I can talk about that one as well. XPEV. I'll grab the screen here. You see the green arrow that was printed there. So I just got involved there with a stop under here and then targeting 2-day VWAP. The reason for this one was just a little bit of a move with Tesla, but we obviously know how strong China is, and then it's just been pulling back just a little bit. So I have that. I still have my SRPT that's moving. I have HRO, which is doing okay. I have MSTX, which is also doing okay. So just a lot of, right, again, like I mentioned, one of the things that helped me pass the eval was just not caring about individual trades. So just taking small shots on many different trades. So I'll be totally okay having all 5 of these open. If Tesla ends up coming here and then printing that arrow again, I'll take TSLL. The idea is that I'm looking for just more of these things to fade to target than to hit stop loss, right? Not getting too complicated with it, right? So if I'm risking the same dollar amount on each one, which I am, then net over the long run, if I can have a net 55, 60% hit rate with this, that'll end up just being a decent little money. And again, Tesla is the last one I'm watching, so I don't even need to look at any of the other ones, and then we'll see if we get that bounce. Now the 2-day VWAP on Tesla is way up here, so I'll probably just put the stop, the low, and then probably not target all that, but just see if maybe 131 or so. So just a question, what do I say when I mean the 2-day VWAP? The 2-day VWAP just incorporates today and yesterday's action, right? So it just shows both of those. My HRO, just while I was talking there, got triggered out for a profit target on that one. So
Tigger and HMR look very similar, still holding on.
Yeah, so just watching here.
I'm thinking we're close here. Are you seeing the kind of change of character across the board, Michael?
Yeah, I'm very close on my other accounts here of just taking a taking a little pop here on the SPY, taking a shot just to see if we're going to rally a little bit anyway.
Yeah, another name, that FCX I'm watching, it is starting to break out of the pennant. So I'm just taking a look. It hasn't really started cooking yet, but it is broken the trend line. So I'm focused on that just because I like the name.
Copper.
It's a good kind of metric.
How's SCCO? Good day
Oh, yeah,
yesterday.
that's the more quality
Copper
name, right?
one, yeah.
Yeah, Southern Copper. I like the way it trades better, personally.
Okay, totally. I respect that.
I've traded them both, right? And you usually feel it, right? And like FCX has a tendency to just come in and stop me.
FCX, I think, is kind of more the retail vehicle. I think that it's more of the options vehicle, so that doesn't surprise me.
The swing vehicle, I think, is SCCO. The swing vehicle, I like it on it.
Totally.
So yeah, the SPY's trying here.
Look at the weekly on that
rare.
SCCO when you get a chance. Sometime like in the monthly, it's just pretty. I like charts that look pretty and not charts that look choppy.
That is pretty.
Yeah,
you got the line there already.
You get what I mean? Like sometimes don't make it too complicated, right? Don't trade the chart that's super choppy. Trade the one that makes repeated patterns that are easy to read. Sometimes you'll see some charts that just make easy patterns repetitively.
The same patterns across all sectors, across all charts. This stuff is so repeatable, and that's the beauty of trading, right? You don't have to get too crazy with it. You get a few setups and you just drill them, and you will make money consistently. That's what all of the consistent traders I know, their systems are shockingly simple. I mean, not all of them, but for the most part, it's about consistency, profitability, and just keep on finding those patterns in the market. There's always a bull market somewhere,
Yeah. Quantum names holding on here, guys. QUBT, QBTS, QMCO. They're holding on. That's a good sign to see if they can start to make the rally come back, right? So we're watching for it. Let's see if the rally wants to come.
Tesla very close to reclaiming VWAP here. The SPY just continues to grind higher, right? I think people are shrugging off. This was the candle that did that kind of spooky move. So above that could be kind of where people get a little bit more interested on things.
And it's just so interesting how we swept the first low, and then there was an immediate buy reaction. I mean, sure, we're not out of the woods yet by any means, but that's a very notable tip of the hand to me.
Yes, no, that to me is the same. It shows that there's like we talked about, this sell-off didn't seem dramatic. It doesn't mean that it's necessarily over, but it didn't seem like when we go back to the immediate 10% corrections that we were having here, it didn't seem ugly like that. It seemed just a little bit smoother, for lack of a better term. And again, just shocking. Here's the 30-minute chart of the SPY, and there's that VWAP. So we're still just fighting that zone. So that's what I'm looking at here, just to see, on a 15-minute chart or so, if we start to push back higher, reclaim this VWAP, that might be one of those where you just punch in, you put a stop the low of the day, and right, if you're right and the thing grinds higher all day, that would end up being a wicked trade. And if you're wrong and it just breaks the low, just the risk reward that gets great, because we're trying to make a little move here anyway.
This looks good. So one thing that I am keeping an eye on here that's really helpful to me is I watch 0DTE premiums, and often you will see that it's like if I'm feeling like I'm seeing a change in the tape, and I'm seeing the zero DTEs all of a sudden stop cratering and kind of hold their price and even maybe get a little surge, which is what I'm seeing right now. It's minor, but it's something to keep an eye on for sure.
I got my MSTX, just came through there at profit, so
Very nice. That's great.
it's pretty decent little day. Again, very small numbers. That's the goal, is many trade, small numbers. So I have SRPT, which is getting close as well,
Nice.
and then XPEV, and then still watching TSLL or TSLA, but I'll take TSLL. So XPEV, you can see, he's done really nothing. And then TSLA is just basing right under the VWAP, just back and forth action. So if we get a pop through VWAP, and again, that 2-minute close, I'll punch that in. And the thing that I like about, like, this is my list, I'm not hunting for anything. So right, I go through each one and I say, okay, did I make the trade the way I should have made the trade? If so, then good. And then it kind of gives me that ability to be done for the day. So like SRPT, you can see is right there at the 2-day VWAP. The 2-day VWAP actually came down a bit, so I should just lower my profit target here just a little bit.
It really helps conserve mental capital, doesn't it? To just hone in and just focus on what you think are the best setups. I love that.
Well, that's why that's again what I do on my swing trading. I'm just a very systematic trader. I do the same every weekend. I run my systems. They say, look at these stocks at these prices. And then I wait for the alerts to come in. I don't do anything between those times. And then the same thing with what I'm trying to do with day trading is just build 4 or 5 different systems that I can have TradingView yell at me when it's time to take the trades. And then between those, not do or think too much about anything, right? I want to spend most of my time, if I'm analyzing during the day, I want to be analyzing the market. And I want to be looking at this and saying, because then if the market's ripping and, longs are coming through after the market was ripping, well, then it might not be as interesting to me, and vice versa, right? If the market's ripping, but shorts are coming through, well, that's interesting to me because it means they're super relatively weak. So it's where you want to spend your focus. And for me, I want to take 90+% of my focus looking here at the market and then having systems alert me when it's time to take different trades.
We have a good question in chat. When price breaks out of a level, how do you guys trade it? Do you enter right away, or do you chase and wait for a pull? Do you enter right away and chase, or do you wait for a pullback to the breakout level? Do you guys want to answer? I know what I think, but
depends how far the breakout is, I think, right? If you're getting it just as it's breaking out, there's upsides and downsides to like there's no right answer to anything, and everything's going to be a trade-off. So it's one of those things. If you're waiting for a pullback, then you're only going to catch like the weaker names that actually pull back. You're going to miss the ones that just explode, and that could be fine because your risk reward's probably better on getting a pullback. So it's whether you want to be correct more often or a better risk reward. So it's kind of for me a balance, right?
It's a style of trading.
For me, my style is primarily waiting for the back test. I'd say probably 3/4 of my trades are waiting for back tests. And like Michael says, I miss a lot of strong names. So when I really do believe in something, I will play the initial breakout, but I'll always size down. And then if we get the back test, then I'll add in there. And I always look for areas to pyramid into winning trades. I never look to average down unless I really, really believe. I always want to, I never want to cut the flowers to water the weeds,
Yeah.
So no throwing good money after bad.
Don't frown, average down.
No.
No, man.
All depends.
Unless your name's Kathy Wood and you have millions. But one thing that I would say is remember what we've been talking about also in teaching here about having entries near stops. So let's say if you did see that level where you're looking to get long and you saw the breakthrough, why not think, hey, if I was long there, where would I place this stop? Then place your entry order there. See if it comes back to there and gives you these quick fills. That's how I make money a lot of the times on these penny stocks. The small runners, I'll think like that. Come back and just pick me up. The quick fills have usually been the best fills. Not the slow fills that just kind of hang out, and then it goes, no. That's usually leaving room for that downside. And I think that's one thing to think about if you're looking to kind of build a strategy around a breakout level. Where would I stop? Let me try to enter there, level down the stop now. Now I'm giving myself that much more room for the stock to pull back and get those rebuyers to come in. Also, whole dollar spots, especially for the smaller names, are big spots to watch to see a big move like wick through it, come back slightly below that for the stop out move, and then go higher. Let's say it's $10 to make it easy, right? You see the stock going through the $10, it goes like 10.20, 10.25 on the spike, but then it's a wick back down to 10. And then the next candle is that 990 test, because a lot of people are holding that 10-cent risk there. They get stopped out at 990s, and then it's right back up through 10.
So, Mitch, you're talking about it, and I'm watching it happen on SPY, and he is the quick look down, the reclaim here, potential reclaim. So, yeah, your timing is excellent, and look at it go right there. I mean, that's a change of the character of the tape for me.
Yeah, I've been wanting to go long on the XLF here, and I can even get it with the smaller account, maybe 200-300 shares off that 49. But I'm just telling myself, I'm like, yes, I want to get long, but I want to show me.
Sorry to interrupt, but I just took a small position because that looked like a change of character that's cooking my breakout level here. So
yeah, let's take a look. Let's take a look here. You keep doing your thing, man. But yeah.
Well, and just quickly for your XLF play, right?
Yeah.
There's FAS, FAZ,
yes,
which are triple XLFs. So if you
I just don't like the price. They need to split that thing, man. Split it for me. Bring it back
short
down.
The little one. FAS is like $6, right?
Okay.
You short the
there you
$6
go.
one.
That's a good way. I appreciate that, Michael. That's not a bad way to think about it.
All right, so I got my stop under the low here. I front ran the entry here. It wasn't. You got to trust your gut sometimes, and that was a change of character to me. And it looks like we're getting continuation. We will get confirmation if we break above this kind of zone for me, and ideally back test and then cook. But
well, yeah, that was the spooky candle, right? So that's what I'm watching too. We're just calling it the spooky candle now, but just because it shows that if we can get up there and we can stay up there, in my opinion, it's just like saying, okay, we've recovered that weird little flash thing that scared everyone, and now we're looking okay. So you can see a little timidness around that zone. I think it's one of those the market's testing. Whoever did that big sell, is he back? And maybe,
and that's why I did label it front run entry. I'm a greedy boy. I thought I'm going to trust my gut a little bit, and trade the pool gives you that. I'm not saying don't systems trade, don't do that. I'm just saying there's a little more leeway in terms of it's not all my money on the table, so I'm not. I wasn't sweating bullets here. It was a little bit wild, but we'll see how it goes. And if I get stopped out, I get stopped out. I'll still be having a free vote here, and that's okay.
No, I think it's a good play. Now I'm looking at it different from that VWAP that we held kind of perfectly, and that's the kind of play that I'm looking to take. I'm watching that same zone that you're watching, and if we break that zone, I'll probably take a little bit here as well. My stop will, just like you, the low of the day, and then this isn't a scalp, right? This is, I want to buy it. I want to put my stop the low of the day, and I want to turn off my screen, walk away, and check back at probably at noon, and then check back again in the afternoon. And if we do have another late day kind of rally, then great, I'll be positioned well. If not, I'm just really, really small risk where I'm not too worried about it.
And one thing I want to mention is if I get stopped out, sure, it sucks, but that gave me information. I paid for information that my idea is not correct, and I should probably reset a little, check my biases, and kind of try to figure out what's going on better before I take another stab at anything. So I'm willing to take that risk, Michael. We'll see. Energy spiking.
That's one thing I'm seeing. That's not a good thing for the market. I'm seeing oil not looking too bad. I'm watching Chevron trying to recover the VWAP 159.50s, looking to see if it can make some move to 160.
You got the rally cat. Just not thrilled, but we're cooking.
Yeah,
really.
I think it's gonna be one of those days. Like I said at the pre-market, one trade. That's all I need. I'm good, guys. I'm good. I'm going to respect myself. Even though I want to trade, I don't need to trade. We'll repeat that. Even though I want to trade, I don't need to trade. This is one thing that I think a lot of traders need to ask themselves when they're feeling that day where they're just not seeing things clearly or not seeing that much, but want to keep trading.
Absolutely.
And then we have to always remember too, we have FOMC tomorrow, right? So
Yeah.
there's a lot of big players that are just holding their bets till after JPOW stops yapping, and then they're gonna take whatever trade they want, right? You got to remember, if you're a large institution and you're trying to buy a billion shares of Apple, do you start that buy program today, or do you say, let's wait till tomorrow when JPOW gets off the stage in case he spooks the market and we can get a better price or something like that? So you'll notice this quite frequently, the Tuesday before any FOMC meeting, even if it's something that, again, it's a foregone conclusion. We know what's going to happen. You just see usually a little choppier action, while a lot of the big boys, they'll take a little bit of time off, right?
BHAT small stock just broke $3 up towards 314. Doesn't look too bad, but I'd need to cut down below 3. I'd be looking at the 9 EMA closer towards the 290s right now. Just broke 3. BHAT, Blue Hat Interactive Entertainment.
BHAT.
So I think my trade's cooking here. I just framed it a little better. I want to take profit up into this VWAP here. I think that it'll probably sweep these highs if I'm right. I'm liking these bottom wicks. My risk reward is fine here. It's just about 2 to 1. That's fine by my books. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. So now that I've framed it, 100%, I feel very confident that this is something that I can let do its thing. And it looks like we're getting the move that I was expecting. So fingers crossed. You saw what happened last time. I called the shot. So
yeah, don't jinx us here, man. Don't ruin the market.
I'm sorry. We have Rally Cat on our side, so I think we're cooking.
So yeah, we're getting close to VWAP here on the SPY. So that's going to be the next, I think, big level to watch. Right? If we get to that VWAP, is it one of those? Do we back off? Do we sell entirely, or do we just kind of chop around VWAP for a while before making another move? Because if we can get through there, then great.
Michael, where do you have your VWAP? I think mine on this indicator is actually incorrect. I have mine
562.23, and I'm including pre-market data, so that's going to change things.
Okay, yeah, I think mine is a cash session, and it's 562.50, which is confluence with that big major fib range. So that's what I think we're reaching for here, and I will be taking profit. You know what? I'll trust it. I will actually do it just under there at 562.40. Type that in.
Palantir's looks like their president saying sold to you 310 million shares of the stock that he has, the largest sale ever in Palantir.
Wow.
That's not what you want.
82.73.
Is this a good time to take a peek? I have some pretty strong opinions on the daily chart.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, he sold 3.75 million shares, about 9.9% of his holding.
So I gotta say, I think Palantir needs to flush down and clean up this weird structure. And actually, I was quite lucky to catch this trade here, and of course I took profit up here, but then it did that. But I think this is really weak structure. I think that there's a lot of incentive for it to kind of want to sweep down in there and clean this up a little bit and kind of retest this range and see if it can put in a higher low there. We have a tightening pattern here and a fake breakout yesterday. As you can see, it just got bopped by the 21 EMA here on the daily. Couldn't quite close above it and then gap down. Now I'm seeing it test this trend line. It is holding for now, which kind of makes sense into FOMC. I would expect the move to happen on FOMC probably. But just a name that I'm watching. If we do have a continued flush, I think that there's still room down on this one. That being said, I have been wrong about these momentum names so many times. They can just keep going. So, if we do break this, then I would be targeting this gap on the upside, and it's got a confluence with 100. So that's a really nice clean level for a swing trade that people have to keep an eye on. Look at that, to the pen. Yeah, so that's kind of my feelings on this one. But I'm watching pretty closely because, man, does it move. It's a fun stock to trade.
NVIDIA is starting to hold, makes the SPY on the 15-minute holding that 560.75 level look a little bit better now. So you're starting to see the up action. XLF trying to hold too. It's been down in the 15 minutes 3 times towards that 49, 49.01, 49.02, and now 49.02. So at least dang sure where the levels are and the volume there. XLV starting to pick up there, and that doesn't look too bad. If it gets to get back through 147, 147.25s, at a bad level to look for there. XLI starting to climb back. So the sectors that I want to see climbing back are starting to make the move, right? I've talked about the 3-0 that I'm just keeping an eye on, and I would just keep watching those three. If they can go green, I'm not even caring about technology being in the green or not, because I think it'll slowly work its way back, like yesterday, where we saw the SPY lead the Qs. And sometimes it's the opposite way, but I think in this case, you keep watching the SPY, see if it starts to make a little bit faster move than the Qs. And reason why, of course, some of the other sectors trying to hold on there. We'll see what happens. TQQQ also coming back, but not looking as strong as the SPY bounce.
Yeah, I just want to note really quickly that we got a tale of two pennants going on here. We have the breakout potentially and the breakdown potentially. So I'm keeping an eye on these. I would also like to see this zone that we talked about, these top wicks that was previous resistance. Zoom in. Previous resistance here. I'd like to see it flip to support. So I'd like to see buying coming here. And if so, then I would add a little bit to the trade. That's kind of healthy. So yeah, I'm keeping an eye on it. You know, we are getting some shake and bake, but I'm not seeing anything too worrying on VIX to make me worry about this little nosebleed here.
Yeah.
Just my thought process here. But you know, we could also entertain the possibility of this being a kind of very steep bear flag. I don't necessarily put too much weight into it, but you know, maybe if we do break down here, that would be another way to consider looking at it. And then you could target down here at 560, 559.50.
Well, yeah, we came right to under that VWAP from the pre-market with the pre-market action on. Grab here.
I gotta change that. Oh, I'm getting smoked here. Look at that. Woo.
Yeah, so we came pretty much right to that, and then we started to back off just a little bit there. So we're back into that range. So, you know,
it's giving
now
me information though. That's not what I was expecting. But if we're selling off VWAP, then that's something to note, right? We are not ready to go screaming yet.
Yeah, so now that we're back inside, you know, this little range, the ultimate question is always, do you get buyers at a higher price? Right? That's what we were talking about right here after that scary candle. Do we get buyers at a higher price? And now we got them at about the same price. So now that we're selling a little bit again, but you can see if you look at this, let's look at these candles, right? This is kind of really choppy action. So
yeah,
for me, it's an action. It's a buy the dip, sell the rip. But I'm going to see what happens if we dig in at a little bit higher price and then start to push back through VWAP again. Again, that to me is my trade. Is right. Let's get through VWAP, and then if we can get through and we can print my little green arrow there, then that's what I'm going to look to get involved in. So MSTX again, I was super sad. I was out a little early on that. That's great, but I'll take that. Tesla printed, didn't quite take it yet. I just wanted to see a little bit more get up and go from the market, so we didn't have that either. So, but XPEV is doing very well here. So
sectors are starting to let go, at least XLF, XLI, XLV guys. So it doesn't make me feel confident now. The sectors that I wanted to see get back to the green, get back to their intraday highs, not doing it, and that puts a sign of concern for me until at least like maybe 1 p.m. or 12:30 or something like that. So for me, I want to go and bet for the downside, but I'm gonna do this, guys. And normally, yeah, in a fresh me, I would go and then start shorting this again, right back into QBTS, starting to see the shorts, starting to see the rejections, and the shorts could easily come right back in on these names. So for me, since I'm not feeling so sharp, I talked about one trade. Sometimes when you talk, you got to do the walk, right? This is what I mean by discipline. Discipline is not something that's just a given. It's an action that is taken repeatedly, right? And it's not something that you just say you have and then you always have it. No, discipline comes in and out. And we need to catch ourselves as traders when we're not being disciplined and when we are, right? Because that's going to help us to do what? Just manage the downside, right? And that's our first job as a trader. It's not necessarily to make money. I think my first job is always just not to lose money, right? If I can't lose money, well, guess what? I can at least continue playing the game and be experienced and learn, right? So in this case, what do? I hit the lock button and I close the platform down, guys. Bye-bye. bye-bye trading for today.
Yeah.
And now what do? I just watch the stocks that I was talking about, right? The XLF, the XLV, see if those things can make a comeback. And if they can't, then I don't see this changing around anytime soon. And at least for the lunch trade, it could be a little bit more leak.
Yeah, I love it. And, you know, practicing the discipline, I'm going to practice what you preach. And I took 2 trades here, small loss, good size win. So that's fine with me. I don't have a good read on the market right now. I think, you know, I think that was the shot that I was looking for and I missed it. So what can you do, right? It's part of the game.
No.
Right. And that's, you know, we were looking for a bounce there. Looks like that might not happen as we kind of bleed back down to these lows. And the question then is, what's going to catch us next?
Yeah.
Right? So that's what we look at. And, you know, we've got a little zone right here, kind of 594.50, and then all the way down at 555. So that
Lone
would
Rush
be
is getting a little
ideal.
lift here in the small caps. I know that like we're not seeing the upside, but ADTX, it's a strong stock, guys. And then KBSX just popped up and fast. So there's some small caps moving out there, guys. So that's a ADTX and KBSX.
Yeah,
That's wild.
That's a no-go for me there.
Yeah. That's spooky. That's a spooky candle right there, Michael.
Save that for the 18-year-olds out there.
Yeah.
So, you know, we are seeing response off the same demand zone. I'm not looking long, but, you know, I'm just keeping an eye on things at this point. I think it's a good day to not trade heavily into FOMC. I also won't be trading heavily tomorrow, and that's fine with me. I'll miss a big move, and I will not lose sleep over it or pull my hair out over it, you know, and then I'll trade. I always love trading the range of the FOMC candle, like the range break. So I will mark the highs and the lows of the day, and then I'll be watching to see the directionality out of there for a, you know, sustained move. So that'll be really important as a data gathering day more than I got to make my money today. You know, I think it's important to recognize your trading style and which type of trading or, you know, trading days and data events and all that fits with it. Because some people love trading FOMC. I think that is crazy, but you know, if it works,
Yeah, those
it works.
guys
Some
snort.
people it works.
Those guys snort Red Bull.
Exactly.
Those guys that do that stuff. That's crazy. But no, I'm with you. You take the FOMC day. If you're going to trade, you take a couple trades early and you walk away.
Yeah.
And then the next day, you do like a post-mortem. You said, okay, this is what happened when you know, Jay Powell talked and this happened, and then after he talked, this is the run, and you can do a nice little breakdown and say, okay, this is now I've got a good idea of what happened with the overall market and with Jay Powell, and now I can just kind of take a step back and say, okay, generally the trend out of FOMC is very smooth because it's just like the weight off the shoulders of the market, right? You know, this event's coming up that the only thing the market knows is that when he says something, the market's going to go crazy. We don't know what it is. So as soon as he's done talking, the market takes a big sigh of relief, and then it pushes higher or pushes lower depending on what it wanted to do anyway. It was just waiting for Jay Powell to kind of shut up. But the basing or the bottoming action on the SPY here is interesting. SPY's coming back in. So again, for me, it's a very basic trade. If we hold this VWAP right here, and then we break that VWAP right there, I'm going to buy some. Otherwise, I'm not really going to do too much else. I'm still watching this Tesla, right? If this can get back through VWAP, this is the last of these things that I have to take today. So to summarize, HRO was a good one. XPVE, still nothing yet, but up a little bit on that. Didn't do anything on Qubit. SRPT came so close to my entry. I should have been my exit. I should have been paying more attention because it did get through the 2-day VWAP. It's just when I set the order, it was like up here, and then I didn't check on it. So as the action and the VWAP came down, so I punched out of that one for a little bit of a flat, and then MSTX was good. So nice. The only trade again that I will potentially take is Tesla if we get back through that, and again the SPY if we get through the VWAP there.
Yeah. And I just want to say really quick, you know, Mitch's point earlier on place your entries where you would place your stops. That, you know, in this particular case, maybe it would still be risky, but, you know, we did sweep my stop and then get a nice little pop there. So it's something to really keep in mind. You know, I think that was a great point that he mentioned.
Something to think about, guys. I think
Yeah,
it's important.
absolutely.
I think it's definitely important to think about it.
So I see a comment here. I don't know if the news is out or not. I'm looking at our Slack, but we were holding for a little bit of news. So I haven't gotten the go ahead that everything's good. But we can do a little bit of a tease and a talk. The boss said we're allowed to there. So and this is the question about the new unlimited trading period. So might be on the website now. I don't think it is, but there will be. I know there's some teasers already sent. I know they're working on it. It's one of those that the devs said today, but it's like when devs do something, it's like when guys comes to fix your house and says it'll take 1 day and it takes like 30. So don't hold us to this, but we'll just tell you a little bit of what's going on, and that's. We're creating new account types, and the new account types essentially are just going to give unlimited time to pass. There's going to be different pay structures and all of that, and when the website's live, we'll show you the website there. But yeah, that's the basic idea, is that you can now, if you want, if you're someone, and this is something that I'm super excited for potentially trying a bigger account, because my problem was always that kind of monkey on the back of you had 45 days to pass the account. So now with these new account types, you can have unlimited time. So I think the game plan is me and Mitch are going to go through and we're going to buy some of these new account types and start trading maybe new or different strategies on them as well, just kind of show you guys. So again, they said today, but it's devs, right? I don't know if you've ever, maybe I'm just saying that because I've worked a lot with devs. Anytime they say it will be a day, you go, okay, it'll be like 4 days.
Yeah, that's what I was a little concerned about. But hey, guys, they're still working out some kinks there, guys. So not live just yet. So I'm going to kind of hold off talking too much about the particulars until we can get that out there, so that I can show you guys the website, actually click on it and get it packaged for myself. But one thing's for certain, and I mentioned it early. Did you guys see what's on the top corner of this screen? Starting from $47.
Yeah.
That's why I said it, guys. There's no more excuse if you can't trade. Like, if you can't afford the $47, I'll be honest, man. We got to go get you a job. We got to go figure something out, man.
Yeah, that's not. I was about to say that's not even a trip to McDonald's.
That's a low entry point, right? There's no barrier to entry anymore, guys, to trading. So if you're hearing mentions like that out there and different traders, remember the first thing you need to learn is how to trade. Second thing you need to do is then collect the capital. I feel like too many of the gurus and furus out there will tell you first, go get all that capital and bring it to me. No. That's not what we do here, guys. That's why we try so much to teach about how to trade, not necessarily that this money that we're making, right? And that's why we always try to keep it. Yeah, we make some money and we show the actual cash, where a lot of other streams will not show that, right? But our main focus is how can we repeat it, not how we can do it once, right? If you're just looking to be a one-time trader, well, then go ahead, throw your lotto out there and see what happens. I just know that when I go to the gas station, I see everyone buying lotto tickets and I avoid it. That's all I'll say. Because the truth is, man, we all want to win the lotto. Truth is, very, very slim chance of anyone winning a lotto, right? Yeah. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, so we'll go over that more when it's live, right?
Yeah. I don't want to go too much into it, but I'll tell you one thing: great opportunities. And one, I think the most important thing, they listened to your feedback.
Yep.
I'll repeat that: they listened to your feedback, traders. You traders out there, they gave the feedback. They listened. And I think that from Michael and I, that, we're in those kind of meetings, and Steve's been joining in now and kind of listening into how the kind of the leadership, right, is taking things, right? There's a reason why I'm more than willing to be here on Trade the Pool, is that they're at least listening. They're trying to give opportunities. Of course, it's always going to be a business. Don't ever forget that. I'm always fully transparent. But at the end of the day, guys, we're trying to give opportunities for those traders out there to continue trading, learning, and hopefully getting to that level that they need to get their family to that next step, right? So definitely look forward to hearing more and more about it, hopefully tomorrow, right here. right? So we'll keep, yeah, hey. But like always, guys, the accounts that you do have are not changing, right? Like if you have an account already and you have a funded account, nothing's changing there. You still have those accounts. Everything's still there. So don't stress about that, right?
Yeah.
This is more just to bring more opportunities to traders and maybe for you to rethink like, hey, maybe this makes more sense for me. So pay attention to hearing the particulars from that. All right, guys, 2 minutes left. Let's go ahead and do a quick recap. For me, it's just one trade. And I think it looked similar to this trade that Trader Neil took. So
Where's that?
almost like I traded it there, right? Shorting up there, seeing that double top around the 1020s, and then getting short. That's the purple line, right? And then taking profits into the down move. I gotta say, I got a little bit better exits than my man Trader Neil, so we'll talk to him about that. But hey, the trade was good too. And look when he took the second trade. Remember when I told you guys like this is starting to break down? This is normally when I'd go right back into it. He took that trade too, and then posted it right back up. So I can't blame him either, right? And that just goes to show us that sometimes traders see almost exactly what you're seeing, right? So we have to be quick sometimes to take profits also. I think Trader Neil would also say in this case, he wasn't looking for a huge breakdown to like 9. That's why he took the opening move and just took cash, right? Because he knew that it could come back to that 10 level and then get some buyers to come back. And then he drew a trend line. You can see the blue line there. He waited for the trend line to break. Remember, I drew the same trend line. And I think that this is something that I think traders need to learn from. You're not the only one seeing things. So make sure that you're waiting a couple, maybe seconds to really see that order flow, show you what you're seeing, other traders are reacting to, and now you're jumping on, right? And so I wanted to bring that up.
And you have to be, and this is something that, I hear from traders all the time. They said they want to discover something new in trading. It's like, yeah, but QBTS is only going to go down if a bunch of people sell it, right? It's only going to go down if other people are selling it. And the stock that you want to buy will only go up if other people are buying it. So you don't want to invent anything new. You want to do what everyone else does. You just want to get in a little bit before them, get out a little bit before them. Have some sort of exit plan, but reinventing the wheel doesn't help you at all, right? The stock only goes up if everyone thinks it's undervalued.
All right, we'll be watching to see what happens in the afternoon. Like I mentioned about the NVIDIA thing, I think that's another thing that you're seeing too. I mean, some of the bulls know that that the NVIDIA thing is going to change up the markets maybe in a little bit. So watch for that turn, like I mentioned, right before the event. That's when I usually look for it. About an hour before I start tuning in and I start looking to see jumps on the charts, right? Jumps where it's literally like a gap up almost move, right? So I'll be looking for that in the afternoon. But what's leaking now? XLF, XLI, and XLV, not so much, right? Because it has that dividend aspect where they'll start to get a little bit, going for it. And now look at the SPY, right? So I don't think it was technology that made a huge move down there. Technology's only moved 0.18 from the last kind of 10 minutes, right? But you're starting to see the cyclicals let go. You're starting to see the financials start to let go. So I think those are really the areas where we could have hung on for a little bit today. Like the financials would have gone up there and XLI would have gone up there and technology could have just maybe hung out in the red. Right. So I'm going to continue watching those sectors. If we're going to come back, I think financials and industrials are part of that lead back mentality. I put this on the playbook. I talked about it before. And I talked about one thing to look for was that American first rhetoric, right? The manufacturing coming here to the US. I think that's when we're going to get this next move up. So I'll continue to watch for that rhetoric. And I think this market and this year is more important to look for talk than actual numbers because the numbers aren't showing it, but everyone's running on talk, whether it be talk of tariffs, whether it's talk of trade wars, whether it's talk of inflation, whether it's talk of interest rates. That's why I'm watching the big man Trump over there and seeing what kind of rhetoric comes from him, right? All right, guys. Steve, it's a battle type of day, right? Michael, I came in with my bear shoes on today. I'm leaving with the bear shoes on. We'll see what happens with the market. I think it's just going to have to be a matter of other sectors bringing us back, not tech. Tech is in a kind of a world of like uncertainty, and there's going to be very slim pickings, I think, there for this year. All right, guys, that's going to do it for us. We'll be back, of course, tomorrow. Giles Coughlin joining us, and I really want to hear his outlook on gold, different things like that, right? So if you have some mentality, you want to ask a question on a guy that covers it all, come tomorrow, guys, 10:30. Giles Coughlin, CMT, will be with us, and I will keep the CMT party going, guys. I'll see you guys back. Like always, guys, keep learning and take a look in the CMT yourself, right? If it's something that you're really looking to do for long periods of time, there's a reason why Michael went after it, and there's a reason why I'm still working towards it, right? So take a look into that. I think it's very important. It can really help you if you're trying to be in this for a long period of time, right? Make this a profession. That's why I think you go and look at that. Another great way to learn technicals, if you're a new trader, and maybe you're just like, I want to go somewhere where the education's all about education, CMT, definitely one of those places for it. We'll see you guys back tomorrow. Keep pushing, guys. It's not easy. I'm glad I just went for one trade. It took two, really. I got that break even stop, but I was really watching that, right? Like as soon as I got to the green, I was like, okay, break even, bitch. Don't be pushing it today. Well, we'll find out what happens tomorrow. Smash the like if you guys enjoy this stream, and let us know. Just like they changed the programs, let us know what you guys want changed here, because we're always listening to your feedback.